Marvel. I started to join the chat group. Chapter 1. Shamo slowly opened his eyes, holding his head that was about to explode with pain, and looked around. Looking at the dark mountain wall, several shabby electric lights were hanging on the mountain wall. Shamo murmured, "Didn't I get washed away by the rapids after saving a little girl who fell into the water? If I wasn't dead, I shouldn't be here, and I should be in the hospital. What the hell is this place?" Just when Shamo doubted his life, a strange male voice sounded beside the fire behind Shamo. "You are awake, Tony Stark is still in a coma. You are really lucky, you are not seriously injured, it should be just a concussion." When Shamo heard the name Tony Stark, many memory fragments emerged in his head. A large stream of memories began to flow into it, because it came too suddenly, the brain was torn with pain. Ethan came over and supported Shamo and said, "Relax, I'm Ethan and I'm responsible for treating you too. If you're still in this state, the terrorists will kill you. They won't leave a burden here." After about a few minutes, the tearing pain in Shamo's brain stopped. Now Shamo knows what's going on. He has traveled through time and space, and he has traveled to the Marvel multiverse. He also has a unique skill, super mouth to mouth. He is also called Shamo in this world. He is an orphan who joined the army. He was attacked by terrorists on the way to escort Tony Stark. For some reason, the terrorists did not kill him, but took him and the injured Tony Stark to this cave. Shamo looked up at the sky speechlessly. Well, there is no sky, only dark walls. Just when Shamo was thinking about how he should survive in this Marvel multiverse, a mechanical synthesized sound rang in Shamo's head. Ding! You have joined the chat group of the 10,000 worlds. Just when Shamo was about to say, another mechanical synthesized sound rang in Shamo's mind. Ding! The supreme lottery system of the 10,000 worlds is activated. Shamo looked at the two powerful systems in his mind and was also confused. Having read online novels for so many years, he has also read a lot of Marvel fan fiction, but he has never seen two systems at the beginning, and one system as a chat group. Everyone in the chat group was instantly alerted when they saw a new person joining the group. Uchiha Madara said, "Newcomer, do you want to dance too?" Batman Wayne said, "Is the newcomer a rich man?" "Forget it, he won't be as rich as me anyway." Hai Bodong said, "I can tell you that the newcomer has hidden potential. I'll invest in him first." Kirishima Tuka said, "The newcomer's world shouldn't be very miserable. But don't let it be like my world." Group leader and Linger, "Newcomer, can you tell me about the general situation of your world? I can also tell you about your future." Looking at the people in the chat group, Shamo thought silently, they are all old acquaintances, the big boss Uchiha Madara in the Naruto world, the money-making Batman in the 600th world, the refreshing Hai Bodong in the Dochi world, and the Kirishima Tuka in the Ghoul world. Finally, this group leader should be a time traveler like me. After thinking it through, Shamo was about to chat. The chat group system of all heavens in Shamo's mind and the supreme lottery system of all heavens that had just been opened actually quarreled. Shamo closed his eyes and entered his own consciousness, and saw a golden light ball and a blue light ball cursing at each other. The chat group system said, "You dare to bind the chat group member I selected, what's wrong? Do you want to fight?" The supreme lottery system of the 10,000 worlds retorted, "You are talking nonsense. What do you mean by the member you selected? It is my host who was selected by you as a chat group member. I have always been in the host's body, but it has just been turned on. I will be afraid of you in a chat group that has just been established. I will fight you if I want to, come here." The chat group of the 10,000 worlds said, "Come here." Shamo was speechless when he saw the two systems that were already stuck together but did not take action. Shamo said helplessly, "If you want to fight, just fight. Can you not be so close? I thought you two were that thing. And wouldn't it be better for you two to train a strong man together? It saves worry and effort. I see that you are like this, and you can't fight at all. If you want to fight, you should have done it earlier. Why are you talking so much?" The two systems looked at Shamo speechlessly. They both thought in their hearts that we two are also high-level systems, right? Why doesn't this kid give any face? Shamo continued, "Ask me why I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of death. Why should I be afraid of you? You two can train a supreme being from the heavens and the worlds together, and he will protect you in the future, isn't that nice? I just want to ask you two if what I said makes sense. Quote. The two systems nodded woodenly. Shamo smiled and said, why are you still hesitating? Where is the novice gift package? Shamo said that he has no attack ability now, but his mouth has reached the maximum level. The two systems thought for a long time, why should they nod? And in their hearts, they felt that what Shamo said made sense. Shamo felt that when he took action in the future, others might shout at the first time, he is about to speak, quickly shut his mouth for me. The chat group of the heavens said a little embarrassedly, the chat group system does not have a new gift package. The supreme lottery system of the heavens and the world smiled evilly with a corner of its mouth, that's it. I thought it was so powerful. No way, no way, the chat group system of the highest level in the universe doesn't even have a big gift package. I can only feel sorry for the host. The host has accepted it. The novice gift package is open. Quote. Ding. Congratulations to the host for winning the 10th draw of the universe. The chat group system of the universe felt a little embarrassed and said, so my novice gift package is 100,000 chat group points. If Enling the future chat group owner, heard this, she would probably want to cry. How long did she save up to get 120,000 points? Now Shamo, this, comes with 100,000 points. Shamo said, I have something to do here, you two should stop fighting. After that, he left the sea of consciousness. Shamo did not go to the water group now, did not draw a lottery, and did not spend the 100,000 points. The main reason is that Tony Stark has woken up now, and Shamo is still very interested in the past life, in the body of a mortal to be on par with the gods, and now Shamo is ready to make a good relationship. Shamo walked towards Tony Stark who was already chatting with Ethan. Shamo looked at Tony Stark who was looking at him with a vigilant face and said, Tony Stark, my name is Shamo. Now the situation of both of us is very bad. We may be killed by terrorists at any time. I wonder if you still remember me. I am a soldier with you. Ethan on the side also nodded and said, yes, he woke up earlier than you. Tony Stark looked at the wound on his chest, and then looked at Shamo who was covered in dust and said, brother, they must be coming for me, and they implicated you. Shamo said calmly, I may have awakened a kind of power. You may not believe it. Give me some time and I can take you out. Tony Stark looked at Shamo strangely and then looked at Ethan. Ethan said helplessly, I thought he had a common concussion, it seems that his head may be injured. Tony Stark looked around helplessly and looked at Shamo and said, you should take good care of your injuries, I will take you out of here. Shamo did not argue anymore. If he got the power from the system and took Tony away directly, there might be no Iron Man in this world, only the playboy Tony Stark. Shamo found a comfortable place to sit down. Entered the inner space of the lottery system of the heavens. Looking at the 10 keys floating in front of him. Shamo silently said in his heart, open the 10 consecutive draws of the heavens. The system consciousness casually opened the 10 consecutive draws. Ding. You got the 9-piece Jade Samsara Eye. Ding. You got the Wood Release Gift Pack. Ding. You got the 6 Paths Body. Ding. You got the power of the Tremor Fruit. Ding. The power of the Omni King. Ding. You got Beerus's God of Destruction power. Ding. You got the divine power of the Law of Heaven and Earth. Ding. You got the weapon Golden Cudgel. Ding. You got the Pokemon Mewtwo Mega Evolution. Ding. You got Arceus's power of creation. Looking at the 5 red and 5 golden light balls in the system space. Shamo was stunned, and the All Heavens and Worlds lottery system was also stunned. Shamo was thinking that he was still planning to upgrade and fight monsters slowly, but now it seems that it is completely unnecessary. The All Heavens and Worlds lottery system was wondering if it had a bug, but after exploring for a long time, he still didn't find a bug. The All Heavens and Worlds lottery system directly doubted life. You should know that the red reward is guaranteed to be won in 10 consecutive draws, and the gold reward is guaranteed to be won in 100 draws. Not only did Shamo draw 5 reds in 10 consecutive draws, but he also got 5 gold rewards. This is a TM human. Even the European emperor can't be like him. This kind of person can only hang on the wall, okay. Shamo's voice brought the still shocked system back to its senses. The lottery system of all heavens and worlds asked woodenly. Host, what did you just say? I was distracted. Shamo said calmly. I was originally planning to develop steadily, but it seems that my strength does not allow it. I have merged all my abilities and strengths, right? The system nodded and merged the reward into Shamo's body. Shamo's body was turned upside down, but the outside world did not stir up a ripple. Ding! The fusion is complete. The golden cudgel and the Pokeball containing Mewtwo are also stored in the system space. The host can take them out at any time. Shamo felt the incredible power in his body and continued, System, do you have my current attribute panel? Ding! The host's attribute panel has been opened. Host. Shamo. Gender. Male, female. Age. 20 years old. Ability. 9 Magatama Samsara I, so the ability includes Susanoo, 6 paths body, infinite healing, infinite chakra, 6 paths form. Would release ninjutsu, all tremor fruit power, all king power, all Beerus god of destruction power, Dharma realm, Arceus's creation power, all. Shamo looked at his panel and asked, what should I be considered as my current strength in the 10,000 worlds? The chat group thought for a while and said, the 10,000 worlds are divided into 999 levels, and those above 999 are transcendent. You are now at most 888 levels, which is above average. Shamo almost spit out a mouthful of old blood. He felt that he was very strong now, extremely strong, but he didn't expect that he was only above average. Fortunately, everyone in the chat group didn't know what he was thinking, otherwise they would have wanted to spray him to death. But the 10,000 Worlds lottery system knew what he was thinking, and now the 10,000 Worlds lottery system was roaring wildly. You went straight from level 0 to level 888. What else do you want? What do you want me to do? Quote. Shamo, as if he sensed the system was about to collapse, could only smile awkwardly and exit the system space. Shamo looked at Tony Stark, who was thinking about something. Shamo did not use his invincible strength to save Tony, that was to let Tony Stark save himself. Shamo in his previous life liked the character of Tony Stark very much. He could not just save Tony Stark just because he had just gained powerful strength, thus ruining Tony Stark's only chance to become Iron Man. Shamo did not disturb Tony Stark but opened the chat group panel, ready to pretend to be an ordinary newcomer to join the group. Uchiha Madara said, this newcomer is not from the ancient world. He still can't understand the chat group after so long. Quote. Kirishima Tuka said, Mr. Madara, don't make up stories about newcomers. You just joined the group and didn't speak for a long time. Once you spoke, you were blaming everyone. If I hadn't known from the group owner that you are an old man, I would have scolded you. Hai Bodong said. Newcomer. Hurry up and show up. I think you must have a bright future. Let me explain to you what this chat group is like. If you have any crisis over there, you send a distress signal, and I will directly spend 1,000 points to travel through the world to save you. Batman Wayne said, if the newcomer is short of money, I can give you a box of gold bars, provided that you show up first. Group owner and Linger said, don't rush him first. When he wants to show up, he will show up naturally. Shamo said in the chat group, hello everyone. My name is Shamo. I just had something here. How should I say it? I am a time traveler, and the group owner is also a time traveler. Quote. In a villa, the girl lying on the sofa suddenly sat up. The girl was still muttering. A time traveler actually entered the chat group, what a close call. Fortunately, I didn't deceive the group members before, and didn't pretend to be a charlatan in the chat group, otherwise I would be miserable now. Quote. The group leader Enlinger thought for a while and said, you can just call me Enlinger. Strictly speaking, I am a reincarnated person. I have been in this magical world for 16 years. I have a new family in this world. Shamo, did you travel directly through time? What world are you in now? Shamo said helplessly, I was an orphan in my previous life, and I am an orphan again in this life after traveling through time, and I am also a Chinese American. Now I have traveled through time to the Marvel multiverse. I should be at the beginning of the Marvel movie universe plot. Iron Man, Ethan and I are now in the terrorist cave. The people in the chat group didn't know what the Marvel world was, but they heard the sadness in Shamo's words. The group leader and Linger continued to ask, do you need our help now? It's just that the travel function of the chat group is being updated. I will lend you some points first. You can strengthen yourself first and return me when you have points. Shamo looked at the message sent to him by the group leader and Ling and felt that this group leader was quite humane. Kirishima Tuka said in the chat group, Shamo, now you have joined the chat group, we are a family. If you have any difficulties, just tell us and we will help you find a solution. Hai Bodong also said, Brother Shamo, now you are a member of our chat group. If anyone dares to bully you, I, the Ice Emperor Hai Bodong, will let my ice dragon bite him to death. The taciturn Batman Wayne thought for a while and said, now that you have joined the chat group, we are all a family. If you have any difficulties, just tell us. It's okay to be an orphan. I lost my parents when I was very young. Your parents definitely want to see you smiling and moving towards a better life. Uchiha Madara said with a laugh, Shamo boy, I, Uchiha Madara, recognize your family in the other world. The current ninja world is becoming more and more cold-blooded and ruthless. You can only see interesting and affectionate guys like you in other worlds. Shamo looked at the words of concern or encouragement from everyone in the chat group. Shamo, who was leaning against the mountain wall, was laughing. A sincere laugh. Shamo said sincerely, in the past 10 years, except for the old director of the orphanage who cared about me, it seemed that I was the only one who cared about myself. After traveling through time, although I have no family in this world, everyone in the chat group is also very good. And Ling there is no danger here. My current strength should be the strongest in the chat group. I don't need your help for the time being. Thank you for your kindness. If you have any trouble, you can come to me directly, and I will try my best to help you solve it. And Ling who was eating dinner at home, saw Shamo's words and felt an indescribable taste in her heart. Just when Ling was stunned, her mother Zhong Lin put a chopstick of garlic sprouts and sausage into Ling bowl. Looking at her parents smiling at her, she suddenly felt very happy. Kirishima Tuka wanted to say something but didn't know how to start. Batman Wayne was also silent and didn't say anything. Hai Bodong didn't even jump out to warm up the crowd. Finally, Uchiha Madara stood up and said, Shamo, you said that you are now the strongest fighter in this chat group. Are you sure? Shamo thought for a while and said, it should be almost certain, because the group owner Miss Ling said that she has only been reincarnated in that magic world for 16 years. In addition, there are so few people in the chat group now, it should have just been created not long ago, so I infer that the group owner Miss may not be a very powerful existence. As for your strength, I will use your peak combat power as a comparison. It is impossible to be as strong as mine. You should have heard that I am a time traveler just now. I know a lot of information about your world, including your peak strength. Uchiha Madara felt that Shamo was a bit arrogant, so he said, do you really know my combat power in my prime? My combat power in my prime could easily destroy a city. Hai Bodong also said, Brother Shamo, I see that your avatar is very young, and you are not very old. You can't think that you are very powerful just because you have gained a little power. You know that I am one of the top 10 Duhuang strongmen in the Jama Empire. Now I have the highest combat power in the chat group. Even Uchiha Madara in his prime may not be able to beat me. Uchiha Madara said unhappily, Hai Bodong, you are talking nonsense. The fake copy posted by the group owner in the chat group does not show all my strength. Those few ice-breaking dragons can defeat me in my prime. Hai Bodong said disdainfully, I don't know you in your prime, but you definitely can't beat me now, Uchiha Madara, you old man. And Ling looked at the two people who were arguing awkwardly, and was about to say something. Shamo said directly, Uchiha Madara, the six-path sage of your world, I should be able to crush him with one hand. And I can also crush the duty of the Duki world with one hand. Do you two understand what I said? Uchiha Madara and Hai Bodong were both shocked. Their ideas began to waver a little, but they still had some doubts. They both felt that Shamo was a young man who had not seen much of the world and was floating just after gaining a little power. At this moment, the mechanical prompt sound of the chat group sounded in everyone's mind. Ding! The chat group has opened the duel arena function. After the first duel, the accurate labels of the group members' strength will be opened. Ding! The chat group now has the functions of group sign in function, Strengthening function. Note. 500 points for strengthening once group points function. Group malfunction. Note. No products are available at the moment. Group members need to upload them by themselves. World transmission function. Note. Updating, temporarily unavailable group dual arena function. The functions to be opened include group member strength labels, group live broadcast function, and group task function. Shamo asked, Uchiha Madara, hi Bodong, do you two want to go to the dual arena to test my strength? I just saw that death in the dual arena will not really affect reality, and the dual arena will be fought for a day, and only 1 minute has passed outside, so there should be no impact. I have paid the 100 points for opening the dual arena. When I just entered the chat group gave me a little points. I can still afford 100 points. What do you think of my suggestion? Hai Bodong felt that he should remind Shamo well and let him know that there are people who are better than people. Uchiha Madara said a little embarrassedly, I can't fight in this body now, so Haibodong, you should go and try Shamo's strength. And Ling didn't think Shamo was a little self-righteous and arrogant like Haibodong and Uchiha Madara. On the contrary, she thought that the chat group might have really invited a time traveler. Because of Shamo's identity as a time traveler, he must know the strength of Uchiha Madara and Haibodong, especially the peak strength. But Shamo still proposed to fight with the two. If he didn't have real strength, how could he make such a request? Isn't that asking for a fight? Batman Wayne didn't continue to speak, he just watched quietly. He didn't know who was right, so he was waiting for the duel to start. Kirishima Dongxiang reminded, Shamo, be careful. Don't think that Hai Bodong is a good investor in the chat group. In the Our Destiny copy sent by the group owner and Ling Hai Bodong is a powerful and decisive warrior. Shamo smiled and said, Everyone, I am fighting with Hai Bodong not because I want to establish my power just after joining the chat group, but I hope that everyone can recognize my strength. When you really need help in the future, you will not think that my strength is not good and will not ask me for help. As you said, the chat group is a big family. I am an orphan in both lives, without any ties, relatives or friends. Now this chat group can also be regarded as my home. I hope that all family members can know how powerful I am and know that with my backing, they don't have to be restrained in doing things. And Lingor looked at Shamo's words for a long time without words. In fact, she didn't have a sense of belonging to the chat group. From the beginning of the chat group to now, she has always regarded the chat group as a tool. The members in the chat group can't be said to be used. At most, they are just ordinary friends who chat with each other. And Linger's words of concern to Shamo were also out of sympathy for her fellow countrymen as a fellow Blue Star. The words, family, and so on were just polite words. I didn't expect Shamo to really take these words to heart. Uchiha Madara laughed dryly and said, the last time I saw someone who was sincere to others was Uchiha Obito and myself before he turned evil. At Shamo, as a person who has experienced this, before you have the strength and the value to attract others, don't show your sincerity to others. Hai Bodong said with a smile. After listening to what Shamo said, I feel refreshed, but I will not hold back in the duel with you because of your words. I just want you to know that sincerity needs strength to protect it. Batman Wayne didn't say anything. He just nodded at the words of several people and expressed his approval. Kirishima Tuka smiled and said, you treat us as family, and we will not let you down. Shamo smiled and said, at Kirishima Tuka thank you, at Anlinger, Hai Bodong, Batman Wayne, Uchiha Madara, you will know whether I have the strength to protect my sincerity later. Ding. Shamo opened the duel field and invited Hai Bodong to duel. Shamo entered the duel field directly. The moment he entered the duel field, the chat group's prompt sounded. Ding. Shamo's 100 points will be deducted. Now please customize the duel scene. Ding. The floating audience seats of the duel field are open. Please enter by yourself. Shamo thought about it and began to customize the duel field. Shamo waved his palm on the customized light screen of the duel field, and a huge canyon appeared in the center of the duel field. Shamo waved the torrent into the canyon again. With his palm flat, he pulled it, and a huge grassland appeared on both sides of the canyon. Shamo kept moving his hands to make a mountain range appear, and a large forest began to grow rapidly. About 5 minutes later, Shamo's movement stopped. There was a forest, a mountain range, and a grassland. In the middle was a huge canyon. The torrent in the canyon rushed from one end of this world to the other end of the world. Shamo looked at the small continent he customized with satisfaction. I don't know what others think. Shamo thinks this place is very good as a dual field. Shamo was teleported directly to the canyon side of the dual continent that had just been defined by the chat group. Hai Bodong also appeared at the same time as Shamo. Hai Bodong was teleported to the other side of the canyon. Behind Hai Bodong was an endless mountain range. Behind Shamo was an endless forest. Hai Bodong was no longer the funny guy in the chat group. He was emitting a cold and icy fighting spirit. The ground around him was covered with a thick layer of frost for more than 10 meters. An ice spear condensed out of thin air in Hai Bodong's hand. A pair of wings transformed from ice fighting spirit behind him exuded cold air. Everyone in the chat group also came to the floating audience seats of the duel arena. Uchiha Madara looked at Hai Bodong and said unhappily, "Let's see how powerful Hai Bodong is, who can defeat me in my prime." And Lingor looked at Shamo's confident smile and didn't say much, just watched quietly. Kirishima Tuka said, "Shamo looks like an ordinary person. Can he really beat Hai Bodong?" Batman Wayne said, "Even if you can't beat him, you have to fight now. The duel has begun. It will stop when one side completely loses the ability to fight or lives. And I think Shamo is not simple. Look at his calm and peaceful look. His strength must be extraordinary." Uchiha Madara suddenly looked in the direction of Shamo, and he felt a force of the same origin. Uchiha Madara murmured, "It's impossible. Shamo actually has such a powerful pupil power, and it is so similar to my Samsara eye, and he also has a lot of life chakra on his body, which is stronger than that guy Hashirama. Could it be him?" The reason why Uchiha Madara can feel Shamo's chakra and breath is because Shamo has just entered the Six Paths mode and opened the 9 Magatama Samsara eye. Unlike the Six Path level characters in the Naruto world, Shamo's Six Path body did not change his appearance and behavior, but 12 Seeking Path Jades appeared behind Shamo. Uchiha Madara was upset when he saw this scene. He couldn't understand why Shamo, a person from another world, could open the mode that only the six-path level strongman in the Naruto world could open. Enter the 9 Magatama Samsara eyes and 12 Seeking Path Jades serious. With Shamo's strength, he can actually fuse more Seeking Path Jades. Shamo just thinks that 12 floating behind him are more beautiful. Looking at Shamo, who was in high spirits and suppressed him, Hai Bodong sweated coldly, and the moment the cold sweat just dripped, it was frozen into ice crystals. Hai Bodong gritted his teeth and shouted, "Ice Blade Storm." Behind Hai Bodong, it quickly condensed into dozens of ice knives with cold light. Under Hai Bodong's control, all the ice knives began to spin wildly, and each knife formed an ice tornado. Hai Bodong pushed his hands forward, and dozens of ice tornadoes rushed towards Shamo. Shamo did not move on the spot, waiting for dozens of ice tornadoes to approach Shamo. Shamo just whispered in his heart, "Shinra Tensai." Because of Shamo's powerful pupil power, the power and range of ordinary Shinra Tensai are much greater. Hai Bodong saw an invisible repulsive force around Shamo that broke all the ice tornadoes apart. Before the ice crystal fragments flew out, Shamo raised his hand and swept his eyes, Wanxiang Tianian. All the ice crystal fragments were attracted in front of Shamo, and then Shamo concentrated the repulsive force on one point and sent all the ice crystal fragments back to Hai Bodong in the distance. Seeing a large area of ice crystal fragments flying towards him at a high speed, Hai Bodong Dong murmured, "Mysterious ice shield condition." The cold air quickly condensed in front of Hai Bodong at a heart-shaking speed, forming a huge ice shield more than 6 meters high. All the ice crystal fragments hit the black ice shield, but did not cause any substantial damage to the thick black ice shield. Hai Bodong waved his hand, and all the ice crystals merged into the interior of the black ice shield. As Hai Bodong moved his mind, the black ice shield changed its shape. The ice mist dissipated, and a huge ice-black leopard made entirely of ice crystals appeared in front of Hai Bodong. Hai Bodong did not give any orders, and the ice crystal leopard rushed to the canyon at an extremely fast speed, jumped up and pounced on Shamo on the other side of the canyon. Shamo just stepped on the ground with his feet, and a huge spiritual formation appeared on the ground. White mist rose, and then three huge monsters appeared. The first one was a strange bird, about the same size as the ice crystal leopard. The second one was a three-headed dog, a circle smaller than the ice crystal leopard, and the last one was a rhinoceros, which was the largest, twice the size of the ice crystal leopard. Hai Bodong looked at this scene and thought to himself, Sha Mo, who can say that he is the strongest in the chat group, is indeed a strong man. He can not only control the force field, but also summon these monsters that look strong. It seems that we need to be serious. Hai Bodong flipped his palm, and in front of him, the ice attribute fighting spirit quickly condensed a cold ice sculpture and an ice crystal gorilla that was as big as the rhino summoned by Sha Mo. At the moment of condensation, the two creatures transformed by fighting spirit rushed towards Sha Mo. The 8-foot bird next to Sha Mo soared into the sky, the rhino's hindhooves began to dig the ground, and the horn began to glow white. The ice sculpture's ice crystals turned into sharp claws, emitting cold air and grabbing the 8-foot bird flying towards him. The 8-foot bird was not to be outdone and used his huge beak to peck at the head of the ice sculpture. The ice crystal gorilla used his palm that emitted cold air to firmly grasp the white glowing horn of the one-horned rhino. For a while, the two sides fought back and forth, and Haebodong also took his ice spear and wanted to fight Sha Mo in close combat. But no matter how Haebodong attacked, Sha Mo could dodge smoothly. Sha Mo did not fight back after dodging the attack, which made Haebodong very unhappy. It was not that Sha Mo did not want to attack, but Haebodong's strength was too weak, and Sha Mo had no need to attack. This time Sha Mo wanted to show some of his strength, not to kill Haebodong instantly and shock everyone. Haebodong saw that all his physical attacks and ice attribute fighting skills could not hurt Sha Mo at all. He decided to use his big move. The ice attribute fighting spirit in Haebodong's body began to be released crazily, and the released fighting spirit began to attract the surrounding ice elements. A dragon head began to condense in front of Haebodong, followed by a dragon body and tail that were dozens of meters long. Pieces of dragon scales began to cover it, and after the entire ice dragon was formed, a golden light flashed in the dragon's eyes. The ice dragon slowly floated up, and Hai Bodong jumped up and landed on the head of the ice dragon. Then 4 identical ice dragons formed around Hai Bodong. Hai Bodong, who was driving 5 ice dragons, said confidently, "It's been a long time since I met such a strong opponent like you, Sha Mo. I feel refreshed now. This is my ultimate attack, Xuanbing Longxiang. Sha Mo, be careful." After Hai Bodong finished speaking, he controlled the 5 ice dragons to soar into the air, dancing in the air and rushing towards Sha Mo. Sha Mo smiled and didn't say much, but clasped his hands together. He silently said in his heart, "Wood release, 6 paths level wood dragon technique." More than a dozen wood dragons, twice the size of Hai Bodong's ice dragon, broke out from the ground in front of Sha Mo and rushed towards the ice dragon in the sky. In fact, Sha Mo's strength can create even larger wood dragons, but he didn't do so. He wanted to release a few more skills. Uchiha Madara in the spectator seat widened his eyes. He was surprised at first, then amazed, and now shocked. He was not so shocked when Sha Mo had the 6-path state. Now that Sha Mo used wood release, Uchiha Madara was stunned. It can be seen that the bond between Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama is quite deep. Uchiha Madara came back to his senses and decided to ask why Sha Mo could use the 6 paths mode and also use wood release, and even the power of wood release exceeded Hashirama. And Linger also covered her mouth in amazement. She was very curious about why there was a seeking truth jade behind Sha Mo. Later, he could use moves similar to Shinra Tensai and Wanxiang Tianyan, and the monsters he summoned were also very much like the summoning beasts of the animal path. Now that Sha Mo used wood release, and Linger was sure that Sha Mo had some connection with the Naruto world, but she was not going to ask more questions. Everyone has their own secrets. Kirishima Tuka exclaimed. Sha Mo is so powerful that he can suppress Haibo Dong Uncle, that dragon that looks like wood. Is it the wood dragon technique performed by Hashirama Senju in Uchiha Madara's world? Too awesome. Batman Wayne held his chin and said, Sha Mo is really not an ordinary person. He can even use wood style from Uchiha Madara's world, and his strength seems to be much stronger than ours. Uchiha Madara thought for a while and said, after he finishes the fight, I'll ask Sha Mo why he can use wood style. And Linger said, at Uchiha Madara, everyone has their own secrets. It's Shamo's own business that he has the power of your world, so let's not ask. Uchiha Madara said helplessly, I'm a bit abrupt. It's mainly because Shamo can use wood style, which reminds me of that guy Hashirama. Quote. Hai Bodong on the field had already felt a chill on his back as a result of Shamo's move. Because now he was surrounded by more than a dozen wooden dragons. The power emanating from each wooden dragon was no weaker than his own ice dragon, and it could be said that they were much stronger than his own ice dragon. Hai Bodong simply gave up the 5 ice dragons, flapped his fighting spirit into ice wings, and flew away. Less than 10 seconds after he flew away, he saw more than a dozen wooden dragons crushing the 5 ice dragons. Hai Bodong was sweating profusely, and wanted to admit defeat, but he remembered that the dual field did not have the function of admitting defeat. Shamo ignored Hai Bodong, who had lost his fighting spirit, and clapped his hands again, and a large amount of natural energy around him rushed into Shamo's body. Immortal technique True Thousands of Hands Top Buddha Transformation. Quote. The moment Shamo finished speaking, a huge wooden Buddha appeared on the side of the canyon. It was estimated that the wooden Buddha was about 1,000 meters high, and 1,000 wooden hands stood quietly behind the wooden Buddha. Hai Bodong blurted out, fool. Uchiha Madara also looked at Shamo speechlessly. He just felt that Shamo was too ruthless. He had personally experienced the power of the immortal technique, the true 1,000 hands, and the Buddha on the top. It was so sour and refreshing that he couldn't believe it. But the aura of this wooden Buddha was much stronger than that of Hashirama. Hai Bodong began to frantically control the ice in his body. Attribute Do-Chi, released more than a dozen Wanwa ice mirrors above him. Shamo stood on the top of the wooden Buddha, which was more than 1,000 meters high, with his hands in his pockets, controlling 1,000 giant palms to slap Hai Bodong below. Hai Bodong desperately controlled his Do-Chi to increase the thickness of the Wanwa ice mirror. But under the slap of the 99th giant palm, all of Hai Bodong's defenses were shattered. Just when Hai Bodong thought he was dead, Shamo stopped controlling the wooden Buddha. Shamo smiled and said, everyone, this is only a small part of my strength. Hai Bodong is almost finished. Shamo didn't kill Hai Bodong with the wooden Buddha directly because he didn't want Hai Bodong to experience the pain of being beaten into a pulp. Hai Bodong asked curiously, you just slapped me to death. Is this duel over? Do you have other ways to cancel the dual field in the chat group? Shamo smiled and said, you will know if you watch it down. After Shamo finished speaking, a purple-black destructive energy formed a small ball between his fingers. Shamo flicked it lightly, and the small ball with extremely compressed destructive energy inside fell to the ground. At the moment when the destructive energy ball exploded, Shamo wrapped Hai Bodong with the power of creation. The people in the audience were not attacked by this destructive energy under the protection of the chat group. But the dual field was annihilated into dust by the destructive energy in an instant. Everyone in the chat group was watching this scene in disbelief. Everyone in the chat group couldn't believe that the sentimental young man had the ability to kill people with just one blow. The ability to destroy a small world. The chat group was shocked. Didn't Shamo just travel through time? How could he be so strong at the beginning? That lottery system is really a big investment. What everyone didn't know was that Shamo, the European emperor, just opened a novice gift pack, and he became so strong after 10 consecutive draws. Hai Bodong looked at the colorful glowing halo around him that protected him from the attack of destructive power, and then looked at Shamo in the sky. Hai Bodong could only sigh at Shamo's strength, and was sincerely happy that such a powerful existence had joined the chat group. Shamo said, at chat group, there is no need to fight anymore. The dual field no longer exists. The chat group cooperated and issued a mechanical prompt sound. Ding. The winner of this duel is Shamo. Ding. The specific label function of group member strength is about to be opened, and the countdown is 1 month. Shamo returned to the cave in the Marvel world, and only 10 seconds had passed. No one noticed Shamo's abnormality. Just when Shamo was about to continue to water the group, Tony Stark said to Shamo while forging iron, just now those terrorists came, I said your injury has not healed yet, you are still resting, they said they wanted to kill you, I said you are still useful, so they didn't do it. Brother, is your head better now? Just now I saw you kept your eyes closed, as if you were sleeping, you have recovered so well. Shamo naturally knew that those terrorists came, but Shamo didn't take it seriously. Shamo looked at Tony Stark, who was really concerned about him, and smiled and said, "I'm fine now. I see you don't seem to be making Jarek missiles. Do you have a way to get out?" Tony Stark smiled confidently and said, "I remember your name seems to be Shamo, right? Don't worry, brother Shamo, I have a way to take you out. Look at this." Tony Stark pointed to his chest and pointed to a hand-drawn manuscript on the table. Shamo stepped forward and saw the Iron Man suit revealed by 7 or 8 pieces of paper stacked together. Shamo pretended to be surprised and said, "You are going to make this thing here?" Tony Stark smiled and said, "As long as you and Ethan help me cover, I can definitely make this armor, and then I can definitely take you two out to kill." Shamo nodded and said, "What do you need me to do now? I will help you, and the production speed will be faster." Tony Stark said unceremoniously, "You will remove the transmission devices of all the machines over there, and collect gears of this size." Shamo did not have any dissatisfaction and began to dismantle those machine parts. Shamo now has the ability to take Tony Stark and Ethan away safely, but he is still ready to wait until Mk1 is successfully built, let Tony kill himself, and he will just be a bodyguard. Being able to personally participate in the production of the first generation Mk1 is a very good experience for Shamo, a Marvel fan. During the time when Shamo did not speak, everyone was busy with their own things. They just knew that a super strong man who regarded them as family had come to the chat group. Hai Bodong was practicing his Do-Chi and wanted to break through Do-Zong as soon as possible. This time, in the battle with Shamo, Hai Bodong deeply realized his weakness. Kirishima Dongxiang was still working in the cafe as usual, but no one knew that there was an extra chat group in her mind. Batman Wayne played the role of the Dark Knight in Gotham, but now he would not enforce justice within the framework of the law. Now he would enforce justice according to his own judgment. Batman Wayne sent all the evil people who could not be punished by the law to see God. Uchiha Madara used all his 500 points to increase his lifespan. In the eyes of Black Zetsu, Uchiha Madara was already old and frail, but Uchiha Madara knew that he was stronger than he was in his prime. Uchiha Madara was always ready to kill Black Zetsu. And Linger looked at the quiet chat group and thought, the chat group has been established for a week. Now everyone is familiar with it. We should start to let everyone sell their skills and items to the chat group so that they can be put on the chat group mall. I can also inform the group owner of the privileges to get a share. Every time the chat group sells a product, I can get a commission of 1%. Thinking of this, and Linger lay on the bed and smiled foolishly. When she saw her 648 points, her face was full of sorrow again. And Linger was the first to join the chat group and became the group owner for a week. With the privilege of the group owner, she can get 70 to 100 points for signing in every day. Even so, there are only so few points, which are only enough for her to strengthen herself once. If she knew that Shamo's little points were 100,000 points, she might be so angry that she would have a myocardial infarction. And Linger was reluctant to use these 648 points. She planned to use 500 points to strengthen her awakening when she first awakened the magic system to see if she could awaken a better magic system. And Linger murmured while lying on her bed, "There is only 1 week left before the magic awakening. I can definitely get 1000 points. When the time comes, I will awaken a powerful magic system, and then use the chat group to strengthen it. I can take off directly, he. By the way, I have the privilege of the group owner, and the sign-in explosion rate is high. Why does Uchiha Madara get so many points every time he signs in? He can't be a European emperor. Shamo is a pretty good person, strong and kind. It's a bit miserable. I don't have a family and 2 lives. It's decided, I will never control Shamo in the future." Hai Bodong is really unique. He is a funny guy in the chat group, but he is meticulous in fighting and practicing. He is a practice madman and a fighting madman. The contrast is too big. Kirishima Dongxiang has a good personality. It would be great if her world was not so miserable. Quote. And Linger thought and recited it in her mouth, and fell asleep unknowingly. Marvel World. Tony Stark wiped the sweat from his face and looked at the Mk1 steel armor created by the 3 people. Although it looks a bit shabby, it will definitely be no problem to deal with those stray hairs. Tony Stark said seriously. Shamo, seal the door now, and then install this bomb on the door. Ethan, help me put on the armor, and we will fight out later. When I return to Los Angeles, I will let you have a colorful life. Quote. Shamo didn't say anything, and Ethan didn't respond to Tony's words, but just started to help Tony Stark put on the armor. 1 minute after Tony Stark entered the armor, the terrorists found that Tony Stark was missing, and soon someone came to investigate. The two people who investigated the situation kicked the door and were directly killed. Unlike the original plot, Tony Stark quickly loaded the system and turned on the armor. Shamo and Tony did not let Ethan, who volunteered, stop the soldiers. Shamo and Ethan each had an AK-47, and Tony Stark rushed to the front in the iron armor to clear the way. Sparks and lightning all the way, Tony punched a terrorist, and from time to time Ethan and Shamo would shoot a few terrorists. Just when Tony Stark was wearing the armor when he led two people to the cave entrance, a rocket directly hit the Mk1 armor. Tony Stark was blown away and hit the mountain wall. Tony Stark inside the Mk1 was not injured, but the Mk1 armor was seriously damaged and it was impossible to continue fighting. Tony Stark could only be a living target on the spot. The bald terrorist leader laughed and picked up another rocket launcher that was already loaded with ammunition, and another rocket flew towards Tony Stark. This time, Shamo reached out and grabbed the rocket without thinking. The plot in those movies and novels where the protagonists throw the rocket back did not happen, but a flower of fire exploded directly. Tony Stark shouted, Shamo. Then he tried to use his physical strength to move. Ethan stared blankly at Shamo who was already wrapped in flames. But the next second, the two were surprised to find that Shamo was not blown to pieces, nor was he burned by the flames, but his clothes were a little damaged. Shamo gave Tony Stark a thumbs up and said, my ability has been awakened, and the rest is up to me. After that, Shamo punched forward. Shamo used a little bit of the power of the god of destruction, and punched the mountains in front of him and all the terrorists into dust. Tony Stark and Ethan looked at the disappearing mountains in front of them and the ground that seemed to have been plowed, and they couldn't come back to their senses for a long time. Shamo turned his head and looked at Tony Stark and Ethan, who frightened them and took a few steps back. Shamo said speechlessly, didn't I tell you that my power has awakened? I won't eat you, what are you afraid of? Tony Stark said awkwardly, Brother Shamo, are you the offspring of God, wandering in the world, like a demigod like Krakros? Ethan touched his cross and said, my lord. I saw a miracle today. Shamo said helplessly, I am not a god or a demigod, I am just a human, but I have awakened a powerful power. You two must keep it a secret for me. Otherwise, I will. The trouble will continue. Tony Stark said seriously, I, Tony Stark, swear that I will not reveal a word of what I saw and heard today, otherwise I will never be able to get hard again. Ethan also held the cross and said, I swear to my lord that I will definitely not reveal it, otherwise I will be nailed to the cross. Shamo smiled and said, okay, this matter is over, Tony, please contact the military and take us back. In less than half an hour, the military helicopter arrived here and took the three people away. Shamo went to Los Angeles with Tony Stark after he was discharged from the army. Ethan was going to go back to his hometown, but Tony and Shamo persuaded him to take him on a military plane to Los Angeles. Tony, who returned to Los Angeles, held a press conference and closed the Weapons Research and Development Department of Stark Industries. Shamo knew that Tony would have a lot of things recently, so he didn't bother him too much and returned to his apartment in Los Angeles. As soon as I arrived at the apartment, I received a text message from Tony Stark greeting me and a text message about the arrival of $600 million. Shamo replied with a thank you and went to take a shower. He lay on the lazy sofa in the apartment. Looking at such a large apartment, Shamo was the only one there. He didn't think much about it, but opened the chat group and prepared to start watering the group. As soon as I entered the group, I heard Anlinger and others talking about something about conspiracy and 9-turn fat intestines. Shamo asked curiously, at Anlinger, are people in the chat group discussing cooking now? Hai Bodong interrupted directly, Shamo, where have you been these 2 days? Why don't you go online to chat? The group owner just talked about the interesting things in their Magic World variety show. It's really funny. Shamo asked curiously. Haven't I been online for 2 months? Oh. It should be caused by the different speed of time in the world. By the way, what variety show are you talking about that is so funny, tell me. And Ling took back the topic and said, it's really funny. It's a variety show about cooking. A contestant didn't wash the pig intestines cleanly. When the 3 judges ate them, they looked like they had eaten shit. One judge asked the contestant, did you deliberately not wash them clean? The contestant said, it is necessary to retain some of the original flavor of the pig intestines so that you can taste that it is pig intestines. So I deliberately didn't wash it so clean. I also looked through it specifically, and the comments section under this video made me laugh so hard. The contestant said, I released the defense. If you don't eat it, you can't eliminate me. If you eat it, you will fall into my trap. Contemporary conspiracy. Shamo almost burst out laughing. When he just crossed over, it seemed that the 9-turned pig intestines based on the defense had begun to spread, but he didn't quite understand the meaning of this stock. Now that he has crossed over to Marvel, he actually understood the meaning of this stock in the chat group. Shamo could only sigh that these famous stocks have spread to all the heavens and worlds, which is incredible. Kirishima Tuka said a little embarrassedly, I have received professional training. I usually don't laugh. This time I really can't help it. Ha 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 ha, da omega da, Xuan Q. Hai Bodong said very seriously. I admire the strategy of that contestant very much. It is really a modern example of conspiracy. Batman Wayne also laughed so hard that his mask fell off. He picked up the mask and said, the judges said that I had cut it very carefully. Who knew that this applied it so evenly? Uchiha Madara also laughed. In terms of making people eat feces, I, Uchiha Madara, call this contestant the best. Shamo looked at these funny people in the chat group and laughed so hard, although he also wanted to find some funny memes on the internet. But the beautiful country in the Marvel world has just entered the 3G era. There is no joke to play with. Shamo continued to listen to the chat group integrating the famous memes of the heavens and the world. What is Mr. Ma who founded the Lightning 5 Whips? Every cause has its effect. What is Happy Planet? Saipan, please welcome Pan Jodan. It turns out you are a little punk. Listen to me saying thank you. Back off, back off. You walk alone in the dark alley. Men need to fight. Being cool is not about playing bad. Here comes the little flying stick. I swept away the 3 flour evaporated milk, spicy hairy eggs, the CPU burned, raising that sheep, can you do it, little dog? Heroes can be wronged, but you can't step on my Chelsea. Jia Wafa, the bagpipes from afar, Cheng Xiao's only concern, relying on the defense, throwing jade in a ditch, Wu Jing's nationality, why is the autumn wind sad in the mountain, and the Northern Lights studio. Shamo watched the famous memes from his previous life appear one after another in the chat group. Suddenly he wanted to change the world within Ling. The main reason is that in Ling-er's world has too many memes and the information network is too developed. Unlike his own world, the 3G network has only been opened for more than half a year. The people in the chat group laughed and made noises until 2:30 in the morning before they went offline and went to bed. Asked why the time passed at a different speed in each world, why they could still play together until 2:30 in the morning. Because the time of the online group members will be the unified time of the chat group. The next day, Shamo slept until noon and ate something casually. Shamo subconsciously opened the chat group and found that no one was online. He had to watch TV alone out of boredom, but there were no good programs. Shamo went out directly to the park to walk around and feel the fresh air in nature. It was dark while wandering around. Shamo found that someone in the chat group was finally online, and it was the group owner and Linger. Shamo asked directly, and Ling-er, what is the situation in your world? It is possible that I know the specific direction of your world. And Ling-er thought for a while and said, I don't know much. The chat group only recently invited me to join the group. I only know that this world is a world where magic is respected, but it is not that kind of Western magical world. It is more like a modern magic world. The levels of magicians are divided into primary level, intermediate level, advanced level, super level, forbidden spell. The strength levels of demons in this world are divided into servant level, warrior level, commander level, king level, emperor level. Magic is also divided into elemental types, such as fire, thunder, ice, etc. There are also dimensional types, such as space system, summoning system, etc. Then there is black and white magic. I don't know the details. Shamo thought for a while and said, I may know the specific situation of your world. It should be the chaotic book of Universal Magician. Ding. Shamo uploaded the fate copy Universal Magician. And Linger entered the Universal Mage dungeon and exited after a while. Shamo asked, is the Bow City crisis happening there? And Linger replied, it shouldn't have happened yet. There should be 1 month before the plot begins, and there should be 3 years before the Bow City disaster. Shamo thought for a while and said, I just observed it. If you can't save the crisis, it's too late now. And Linger said helplessly, I really want to save those people. Too many people died in that disaster. Shamo said very directly, if your strength is not enough by then, I will do it. And Linger hurriedly said, thank you Shamo. And Linger thought for a while and said, in another month, I will enter the magic high school to study in the first year. There will be an awakening ceremony in the first year of high school, and I can become a magician. With the help of the chat group, I will grow quickly. I hope that in 3 years I can grow to the extent that I can stop the Bow City disaster. Shamo said calmly, it is very likely that you want to stop the Bow City disaster with the help of the chat group within 3 years. I think your world it is really pathetic for humans. The land where humans live is surrounded by demons. They are still not united. These people look down on the weak and fear the strong. Your world finally has a genius, and those superiors are afraid that the genius will overthrow their rule after growing up, so they label the super genius as a heretic and strangle it in the cradle. It is really pathetic. All in Linger, you have to be careful. If after saving Bow City, the holy city finds out that your strength has increased too quickly, and you are defined as a heretic by those scumbags of the holy city arbitration court in your world, you must tell everyone in our chat group in time so that we can help you solve the problem. For example, destroy the holy city. Quote. And Linger looked at Shamo who was thinking about her and said sincerely, thank you, Shamo. If I really encounter something I can't solve, I will definitely ask everyone for help, but I still hope that I can solve the things in my world by myself. Shamo smiled and said, it's up to you, just decide for yourself. Just as Shamo was chatting with Linger and walking to the beach to enjoy the sea view. Outside the cave where Tony Stark was imprisoned, a team of scientists was exploring everything here. Dozens of armed men in black were alert around them, led by a middle-aged man with sparse hair. This man was Agent Phil Coulson, the famous rookie guide in the Marvel world. He was also a level 8 agent of the Strategic Homeland and Logistics Agency, which was the shield of the future. A scientist walked up to Agent Phil Coulson, who looked solemn, and said, Agent Coulson, according to our exploration, this disappeared mountain range was directly flattened by a terrible force, or it could be said that it was destroyed by an unknown force, and it was a matter of a moment. Agent Phil Coulson said solemnly, everyone here needs to sign a level 8 confidentiality agreement, and it must not be spread. After saying that, and after asking everyone present to sign the confidentiality agreement, he took out a satellite phone and called a bald-boiled egg. Phil Coulson said very seriously, Director, this is incredible. I have asked the exploration personnel and the armed personnel who participated in the mission to sign a confidentiality agreement. Could this be done by Tony Stark? He seems to be making a flying armor now. Nick Fury thought for a while and said, it should not be Tony Stark and the man named Ethan. My intuition tells me that the soldier named Summer may be related to this matter. Go back to Los Angeles and observe him carefully for me. Phil Coulson replied. I know, I will go back now. Director, can you give me a few days off? My girlfriend just now didn't go out for dinner or watch a few movies. I may need to deepen my relationship with her. Quote. Nick Fury said with a dark face. 2 days, at most 2 days, you have to observe the retired soldier named Shamo. I will let the Black Widow agent Natasha test him later. Phil Coulson said quickly. Okay, thank you, Director. I will go back now. I will observe Shamo as soon as I am off. Shamo, who was chatting with Linger in the chat group, didn't know that he had been targeted by the National Strategic and Logistics Support Bureau. Even if Sha Mo knew, he would not take it seriously. In this Marvel world, the only threat to him is there is only Oa, and Oa may not conflict with him. Even if there is a conflict, Sha Mo is not afraid, but it may be a little troublesome. Arceus's power of the god of creation is not an ordinary power. It can be said to be an omnipotent power in the universe. There is also a power of the king of all kings that is above the universe. Sha Mo continued to chat and walk to the beach, feeling the sea breeze blowing on his cheeks, looking at the sea level reflecting the moonlight, and felt a lot more relaxed. Just as Sha Mo felt the sea breeze blowing on his body, Sha Mo's supreme lottery system of the 10,000 worlds said, "Host, you have been traveling for 3 months. You have accumulated 3 lottery opportunities. Are you not going to use them yet?" Sha Mo looked at the distance and said calmly, "No hurry, wait until I accumulate 10 times and then draw 10 times in a row." The lottery system thought speechlessly, "Is my setting of getting 1 lottery opportunity every month too buggy? Let Sha Mo, the king of the European emperor, draw 10 times in a row again. Good guy, I think he must be so strong that he will ascend to heaven." Sha Mo walked to the beach and continued to chat in the chat group. After chatting with Enlinger for a while, everyone in the chat group came online one after another. After the other members of the chat group came online, they also watched the copy of the Fate of the Universal Wizard. Hai Bodong said, "Group leader girl, the woman in the villain organization in your world is really an extreme lunatic. Just to see her husband who has become the Dark King, she turned the entire magic world upside down and even didn't want her own daughter. She really deserves to die." Kirishima Dongxiang also said, "It's crazy enough that there is this crazy woman in that magic world, but there are so many monsters in this magic world. The humans in this world are completely not as united as the humans in our world. If the humans in the Universal Wizard world are united, those monsters would have been wiped out long ago." Batman Wayne thought for a while and said, "Miss Group Leader, you haven't awakened yet, right? So what magic are you going to awaken?" Uchiha Madara asked curiously. "I saw that the awakening of magic in the Fate Dungeon is not random." Batman Wayne said, "Uchiha Madara, look at you, you don't take the Fate Dungeon seriously. There are guide stones for specific magic that can guide the awakening of magic." Uchiha Madara replied, "Maybe I missed it. By the way, I plan to kill Black Zetsu in 2 months, and then take over Konoha village, and finally start the cause of unifying the ninja world." Sha Mo replied calmly, "Oh." And Linger also said, "Oh." Hai Bodong. "Oh." Kirishima Tuka and Batman Wayne also said, "Oh." Uchiha Madara could hardly maintain his old image, and said unhappily, "I am going to unify the ninja world, a great thing that Senju Hashirama has not accomplished. You just reply me with an, oh." Sha Mo said calmly, "Uchiha Madara, you should tell this to the ninjas in the Naruto world, maybe some people will be amazed. This is the chat group of all the heavens and all the worlds. If you say that you are going to unify all the heavens and all the worlds, we may be amazed for a while, just for a while." Hai Bodong also said, "Uchiha Madara, you can't limit yourself to a small ninja world. I think you should set a small goal first, destroy the Otsutsuki clan, and then unify the Naruto universe. What do you think?" Kirishima Tuka said, "I will just smile and not say anything." Batman Wayne also said, "I will just smile and not say anything." And Linger said that she is a new group leader and will not say anything more. Uchiha Madara said helplessly, "Okay, underscore. It's because I have too low a vision. I've decided to unify the ninja world first, then destroy the Otsutsuki clan, and finally become the supreme ruler of the Naruto universe." Sha Mo just watched Uchiha Madara talking about his lofty ambitions, and then interrupted Uchiha Madara and said, "Uchiha Madara, are you done? Where did we just talk about the world of universal magicians? Let's continue." Kirishima Tuka said, "We were just asking the group leader what magic system to awaken." Sha Mo asked, "Enlinger, what magic system are you going to awaken?" Enlinger thought for a while and said, "I prefer the space system and the summoning system. I hope to awaken one of these 2 systems in the first awakening. My family conditions in this life are very good, but I may not be able to get the items that guide these 2 magic systems. The guiding stone for awakening the fire and lightning system is easy to get. Quote. Shamo said directly. Only children make choices, we want them all. So on the day you awaken, I will go to your world and use the power of creation to modify the magic system you awaken, so that you can directly have two-dimensional magic, how about it? And Linger smiled brightly and said, okay, thank you Shamo, I will treat you to a meal when you come to our world, and then take you around to play, how about it? Hai Bodong asked curiously, did you overlook something? Kirishima Tuka also said, it seems that something was overlooked. Batman Wayne said speechlessly, are you talking about the power of creation? Uchiha Madara also replied, yes. It is the power of creation, is this the literal meaning? The people who reacted were stunned. The glass that Kirishima Tuka was wiping in her hand fell directly to the ground and shattered into glass fragments. Hai Bodong was practicing his Do-Chi technique while using the water group. When he realized the power of creation, the Do-Chi running in his body almost gave him a stitch in the side. When Batman Wayne was about to borrow the rope gun to swing to another tall building, he staggered and almost fell down. And Ling was also shocked and opened her mouth in an O shape. She didn't react at first, and when everyone only after reminding her did he realize that it was the power of creation. Uchiha Madara said tremblingly, Shamo, the power of creation you are talking about is not the power possessed by the legendary god of creation. Shamo nodded and replied calmly, it is the power you think of. I can indeed create a world at will now. This power is almost omnipotent. It can help and Linger awaken two magic systems. That is really a small problem. Hai Bodong started to lick his ass directly. What is he investing now? This is directly a big guy. He just needs to lick his ass. Hai Bodong said, Boss Shamo, can you help me upgrade to Dodi directly? Batman Wayne also said, Boss Shamo, can you give me some real superpowers? Sometimes money doesn't work. Uchiha Madara said arrogantly, Boss Shamo, my requirements are not high. You can temporarily upgrade me to the 6 paths level. Kirishima Dongxiang looked at the three people with contempt and said, Shamo treats us as family, but you can't ask too much. And Linger also said, Shamo just said when he joined the group that he treats us as family, but you can't ask him to help you with things like improving your strength. I just awakened, and it was Shamo who promised to help me. I didn't ask him to do anything for me. Shamo smiled and said, let me put it this way. I treat you as family. What I can do is to be kind to you. The family members in these chat groups will not stand by and watch you die. If you are in danger of your life, I will rescue you, but you still have to rely on yourself to improve your strength. I won't help you too much. Quote. Hai Bodong also laughed and said, I am just joking. With Shamo, a creator-level strongman in the chat group, we are not afraid of being killed by some strong men. Batman Wayne also said quickly, yes, I am also joking to liven up the atmosphere of the chat group. To become stronger, we must rely on our own efforts. Quote. Uchiha Madara also smiled and said, I am also joking. To become stronger, you must practice yourself to gain strength. Only then can it truly belong to you. Quote. Shamo looked at the supreme lottery system of the heavens and the worlds, and felt the extremely powerful power in his body. He felt that Uchiha Madara was implying him. Shamo continued, it's decided. 1 month later, and Ling if you want to awaken, tell me. I will teleport to your world and help you awaken these two magic systems. But if you want me to help you upgrade to the forbidden spell level directly, forget it. And Ling smiled and said, okay, I know. Thank you, Shamo. Just when Shamo was about to find a topic to chat in the group, he suddenly saw a girl in sports casual clothes on the beach, who actually jumped into the sea. At first, Shamo thought she was going to swim, but after watching for a few seconds, he found that the girl couldn't swim. Shamo sent a message directly in the chat group, let's stop chatting. Someone jumped into the sea here, I'll go save him first. After Shamo said that in the chat group, he jumped into the sea, and in less than half a minute, he rescued the girl who was about to commit suicide to the shore. Why? Shamo didn't use his own ability to save her. He was just too lazy to use it. After Shamo rescued the girl who had choked on water several times, the girl was still shouting why he didn't let her die. Shamo looked at the emotional girl and comforted her helplessly. What happened to you? Tell me and see if I can help you solve it. Don't think too much. The girl wiped the liquid mixed with her tears and seawater on her face and sobbed. Thank you. My name is Yi Exanon. I am an orphan. I have a very bad life in my adopted family. Recently, the devil-like adoptive father has been trying to bully me. I ran to the police station but they didn't believe it. In the end, the devil father took me back and I was beaten up. I ran away secretly at night. I was emotionally impulsive just now and wanted to commit suicide. Thank you for saving me. Shamo looked at the scars on the girl's arm and directly used the power of creation to check the truth of this matter. He found that what the girl said was true. Shamo looked at Yi Shinan seriously and said, My name is Shamo, do you believe me? Yi Shinan nodded and said, I believe you. If you want to help me bring that devilish adoptive father to justice, forget it. I don't want to harm you. He is the chairman of a listed group with great power and he have connections in the police station. Shamo smiled and said, It's okay. Just trust me. Let's go to the hospital to treat your injuries first. I'll pay for the medical expenses, and I promise you that your devilish adoptive father will be punished by law. Shamo took Yi Shinan to a taxi. Shamo never showed his ability, but helped Yi Shinan like an ordinary person. Shamo looked at the taxi driver who looked at the two with strange eyes and said, Master, please turn on the heater. She accidentally fell into the sea just now. When the taxi driver heard Shamo say this, the weirdness in his eyes also subsided a lot, and he turned on the heater casually. The chat group is now in an uproar, and everyone is discussing the fact that someone on Shamo's side jumped into the sea to commit suicide. And Linger asked, At Shamo, what's the situation on your side? Shamo replied, Fortunately. The person has been rescued. The matter is a bit complicated. It will be difficult to explain it for a while. I will tell you later. I'm going offline first. Shamo exited the chat group and looked at Yi Shinan who was no longer shaking. After thinking for a while, he said, Let's do this. Let's go to the hospital first. After your injury is treated, we will do an injury assessment. I can take you to the police station to file it. There will be a beast brought to justice. Yi Shinan drove, he said quickly. Thank you, Shamo. No need, he has connections in the police station. I will go to the hospital to treat the wound and then I will leave. I will find a job in a restaurant. I will not use your money for nothing. I will pay you back later. Shamo smiled and said, Silly girl, how old are you now? I think you are only 15 years old at most. Who dares to hire you when you go to work? I said that as long as you believe in me, I will stand up for you. I have friends in the military, so don't worry. The friend Shamo mentioned must be Tony Stark. If there is an accident this time, Shamo will definitely ask Tony for help, and Tony Stark will definitely be happy to help his savior. Shamo brought Yi Shinan to the hospital and went directly to the emergency room. Soon a doctor came to help Yi Shinan with treatment. While the doctor was treating him, he ran to the clothing store next to the hospital to buy a new set of clothes. When the doctor brought Yi Shinan out, Shamo asked Yi Shinan to go to the bathroom to change into clean clothes. Just as Yi Shinan left to change clothes, a young female doctor with blonde hair and blue eyes looked at Shamo and asked seriously, The injury of this little girl must be man-made, and her mental state is not good. When she came, her clothes were all wet. Who are you to her? I need to know what happened to her, otherwise I will call the police to let the police handle this matter. Shamo smiled helplessly and said, It's like this. I just saved her who wanted to jump into the sea to commit suicide at the beach. She told me that because her adoptive father wanted to violate her, she called the police, and then there was an acquaintance of her adoptive father in the police station, so she was taken back and beaten. Today she suddenly ran out and jumped into the sea directly. You can understand what I mean. The beautiful doctor looked at Shamo, who was also wet, nodded and said, How about this? I will do a future injury assessment with her later, and then you call the police directly to let the police come out. You don't have to worry about anyone else in the police station. My father is the chief of police. Shamo looked at the beautiful doctor strangely and asked, You are the daughter of Sheriff George Stacy. Gwen Stacy asked, You know my father? Shamo thought for a while and said, I can only say that I know him. I used to be a soldier in the military. Once someone robbed a bank and I was withdrawing money from that bank. I easily subdued the robbers and killed 2 of them. When your father came, there was only one survivor. I went to the police station with your father to make a statement. He also treated me to a meal, so I still remember him. He was a very conscientious police officer. Gwen Stacy said in surprise. You actually so amazing. Shamo said. I heard from your father that you are not a college student, but also a scientific research type. Gwen Stacy said awkwardly. I am also good at medical treatment. Today is my best friend's class. She has something to do, so she asked me to replace her position. Don't tell anyone. Shamo smiled and said, let's get to know each other again. My name is Shamo. Gwen Stacy also smiled and said, hello. My name is Gwen Stacy. At this time, Yi Shinan also changed his clothes and walked back. Shamo looked at Yi Shinan, who was wearing casual clothes, short golden hair and blue eyes, and smiled and said, Yi Shinan has good news for you. I don't need to use any connections for your matter. The father of this doctor is the director of the police station. Yi Shinan looked at Gwen Stacy with a sweet smile and said with a wry smile, thank you, Dr. Sister. I envy you for having such an amazing father, unlike me. Shamo patted Yi Shinan on the shoulder and said, okay, don't think too much now. Let's send your adoptive father to the cell first. Yi Shinan nodded vigorously, and then followed Gwen to do the injury assessment. Gwen Stacy took the report and said, it can already constitute a minor injury. It should be enough for his adoptive father to be sentenced to 2 years. Shamo nodded without saying anything more. He had decided to let Yi Shinan's adoptive father die quietly in prison. Shamo already knew what Yi Shinan's perverted adoptive father did and even thought through the power of creation, although on the surface he just beat Yi Shinan up. In fact, he had many perverted ideas in his heart, and he was ready to realize them one by one. Shamo would definitely not let this perverted guy live. He would directly send this guy to see the goddess of death in their Marvel world. Shamo called the police the moment Yi Shinan's injury report came out. After briefly describing what happened, Gwen Stacy also called her father. Sheriff Stacy said that someone would take them to the police station, and he would be in charge of everything afterwards. 10 minutes later, Shamo and Yi Shinan, who was holding his own injury assessment report, got on the police car to the police station. Stacy came to help Yi Shinan and Shamo deal with the matter in person. After Sheriff Stacy heard Yi Shinan's complete account of the matter, he looked at the injury assessment report issued by his daughter and became furious. He called a team of police officers to arrest the fool and bring him to the police station. Yi Shinan's adoptive father came to the police station and cursed Yi Shinan when he saw him, and threatened, if he gets out, Yi Shinan will definitely not have an easy time. But what he didn't know was that he would never be able to leave the prison alive again. Sheriff Stacy walked up to Shamo, shook hands with Shamo and said, Shamo, you are still the same after not seeing you for a few months. So helpful. Thank you for saving another young life this time. There is only one problem, which is the adoption of Yi Shinan. She said she doesn't want to be adopted again, but she is only 14 years old and can't support herself in this city. So you should communicate with her. She said she would be willing if it were you. Shamo came to Yi Shinan, who was holding the corner of her clothes, and said, you don't want to be adopted and have you been adopted? I just heard from the sheriff that you are only 14 years old, 1 year younger than my guess of 15. Do you think you can support yourself in this city? Quote. Yi Shinan hesitated for a few seconds and said, Shamo, are you willing to adopt me? If it's you, I am willing. Seeing that Shamo did not agree immediately, Yi Shinan hurriedly said, I will definitely not spend money recklessly. I will do all the housework at home. I will do part-time jobs to supplement the family income. Just when Yi Shinan was so anxious that tears were rolling in his eyes, a warm big hand gently placed on Yi Shinan's head. Shamo smiled and said, okay. You will be my adopted daughter from now on. I have decided to raise you until you are an adult. You don't need to do any housework or work part-time to supplement the family income. You just need to study hard and live happily every day. Don't be depressed anymore. I will treat you like my own daughter and will not treat you unfairly. As long as you don't spend money lavishly, you can spend it as you normally would. Yi Shinan was already crying while Shamo was talking. Shamo didn't say anything else. He just waited quietly for Yi Shinan to release her negative emotions, and then took Yi Shinan to go through the adoption procedures. After finishing everything, it was already late. Shamo took the somewhat exhausted Yi Exanon back to his apartment. He cleaned a room for the exhausted Yi Exanon and took out a brand new quilt to cover Yi Exanon. Yi Exanon had reached his limit and fell asleep as soon as he lay down on the quilt. Shamo folded the corners of the quilt for Yi Exanon, turned off the lights, and closed the door when he left the room. Back in his room, Shamo joined the chat group. The chat group has already added 99 messages. Shamo popped up a message and said, "Everyone, what are you talking about?" Group leader and Linger asked curiously, "Shamo, why did the girl you saved jump into the sea to commit suicide? Tell us all about it." Kirishima Dongxiang smiled wickedly. "Shamo, after you saved the girl, did she fall in love with you and then marry you?" Hai Bodong asked directly. Shamo's heroic act of saving the beauty is worthy of learning for all members of our group. Batman Wayne said directly, "I have saved many people, why don't you learn from me?" Hai Bodong he retorted. "Haha, can you save someone and she will become your wife?" Uchiha Madara laughed hoarsely and said, "I didn't expect that the Ice Emperor Hai Bodong who claimed to be able to defeat me at my peak is this kind of person." Hai Bodong said unhappily, "Uchiha Madara, you can't beat me, so you are just being sarcastic, right?" Uchiha Madara said, "Haha." Shamo saw that there was a trend of quarreling, so he said, "Let me answer the first question of the group leader first. The girl's name is Yi Exanon. The reason for her suicide is also very simple. She has a perverted ghost father who abused her and wanted to violate her. She called the police but no one did. That pervert has connections in the police station. So she felt that there was no hope in life and wanted to commit suicide." Quote. Kirishima Dongxiang said the moment Shamo finished speaking, "Shamo, you even know her name, good progress." Shamo said speechlessly, "Kirishima Dongxiang, have you read too many romance novels? What the hell are you talking about? Yi Shinan didn't have a secret crush on me, nor did she give herself to me. I adopted her as my daughter, really. What are you thinking about every day?" Uchiha Madara said in amazement, "Other girls just want to repay you, Shamo, you actually want to be her father." Hai Bodong said helplessly, "I want to repay you with my body, Shamo actually wants to be my father." Batman Wayne said speechlessly, "I didn't see it, Hai Bodong is gone, Uchiha Madara, you, the hidden big boss, are actually a joke." Uchiha Madara said directly, "Batman Wayne, if you can't speak, don't speak. Do you know how to use words? This is called livening up the atmosphere, don't you understand?" And Linger said, "So a big boss at the level of a creator god took in an ordinary girl as his adopted daughter." As soon as Ninger said this, the chat group instantly became quiet. Hai Bodong started to act like a licker and said, "Brother Shamo, do you still need a son? Do you think I can do it?" Shamo said speechlessly, "Get lost. I don't have a son as old as you." Hai Bodong said quickly, "Okay. Brother." Uchiha Madara covered his face and held his forehead and said, "I am speechless and can't bear to look at it." Batman Wayne said, "I am speechless and can't bear to look at it +1. Group leader and Linger said, "I am speechless and can't bear to look at it +13886. Kirishima Tuka said, "I am speechless and can't look at it directly. I just won't add it. It's funny to disrupt the formation JPG." Shamo looked at a group of funny chat group members, with a slight smile on his face. Shamo's current cultivation level meant that he didn't need to sleep, and he didn't continue to chat in the group, but studied the current functions of the chat group. What was more attractive to him now was the chat group's enhancement function and group store function. Shamo clicked on the chat group's group store function and saw 7 or 8 items in it, including the chakra training method uploaded by Uchiha Madara. Points required. 10 points. Points required for the ordinary 3-body technique, 3 points. Points required for the fire-style Great Fireball technique, 20 points. Points required for the Shadow Clone, 50 points. Points required for a box of gold bars uploaded by Batman Wayne, 1 point. Points required for the Do-Chi training method uploaded by Hai Bodong, 15 points. Points required for the fighting skill Ice Finger, 20 points. Points required for the cold gauze dress, 30 points. Points required for the Xuanbing Shield Xuanji Advanced Fighting Skill, 100 points. Shamo looked at the things that several people uploaded in the chat group mall during this period, and was a little disappointed. There was nothing that interested him. Mainly because Shamo's power of creation was too buggy, almost an omnipotent power. But Shamo remembered Yi Exanon, the daughter he had just adopted, and he needed to do something for her. The future of Marvel was too dangerous for her. Shamo looked at the things in the chat group and murmured, I remember the rules of the chat group are that precious items and skills cannot be put into red envelopes. They need to be appraised by the chat group and then put into the group mall for trading. It seems to be to avoid the boss casually giving away his seemingly invaluable but actually very strange and precious things to other group members, so that the group members can quickly become stronger and lose control of their own power and be devoured by the power. The reason why I have gained such a powerful power without losing my heart is that the power I have obtained is not a single one but many kinds, and there is also the most powerful and gentle power of creation, which helps me fully accept other powers. The second point is that the mechanism of the supreme lottery system of the 10,000 worlds will greatly reduce the damage of the extracted power to the host's mind. The third is that I am a time traveler, with strong soul power, and mental ability is closely related to soul power. So I am fine and perfectly accepted such a powerful power. After accepting the power, all aspects of my life have also improved. But how can I let Yi Shinan gain a certain degree of self-protection without risk? The Wanji lottery system is definitely not possible. The power I draw from this system is too powerful, and Yi Shinan will definitely not be able to bear it. But I use the power of creation to strengthen Yi Shinan, which is not the power she has cultivated herself. I need to help Yi Shinan get a practice method, let her practice on her own, and I will give guidance. Quote. Shamo thought about it and felt that buying a practice method in the group mall was now a matter of choosing the method of fighting spirit cultivation and the method of chakra cultivation. Shamo chose the method of fighting spirit cultivation without much hesitation, because the upper limit of the method of fighting spirit cultivation is high, and it can also be seen from the chat group mall that the method of fighting spirit cultivation is 5 points higher than the method of chakra cultivation, so there is no need to consider which one to choose. Ding. Shamo spent 15 points to buy Hai Bodong's Dochi training method. Hai Bodong also received a notification from the chat group that 15 points had been received. Hai Bodong felt like he had won a jackpot. He was the first person to sell a product in the chat group, and the one who bought his product was Shamo. Shamo took out the Dochi training method and began to read it using the power of creation. Then Shamo used the power of creation to optimize it. When Shamo finished all this, it was already dawn. Shamo casually placed the Dochi training method that he had optimized on his desk. Entered the chat group and clicked on the enhancement function. Shamo just clicked on the enhancement points, and the chat group's enhancement function began to scan Shamo's whole body. Ding. The strength level of the distinguished group member Mr. Shamo is LV 888, and it is not recommended to use the chat group points to enhance. Shamo asked curiously, why is it not recommended? Ding. Do you know the specific cultivation levels of the heavens and the worlds and the specific strength divisions of the corresponding levels? Shamo shook his head and asked, I don't know, please describe it in detail. Ding. LV0 is an ordinary life form, that is, an ordinary person who has no power in your mouth. LV1 LV9 is a first-level life form, and the strength is that it can beat dozens of ordinary people. LV10 LV19 is a second-level life form, and the strength is that those who can cultivate the basic energy of each world are gathered in the strange person in the body, who can punch out 3 tons of force as a second-level life form. LV20 LV29 is a third-level life form, which can basically control the release of energy in the body, and can reach 10 tons with one punch. LV30 LV49 is a fourth-level life form, which can easily control the release of power in the body, and can punch out a shock wave of 100 meters and is rated as a fourth-level life form. LV50 LV79 is a fifth-level life form, which can control the interaction between itself and the external force field, and you can achieve autonomous flight. LV80 LV99 is a sixth-level life form, which can travel in the universe and control the body in all aspects. A random blow can destroy a 100-meter building. LV 100 to 199 is a 7th level life form, which can see the door of the space law and can teleport within 10,000 meters. The space movement gradually improves with strength and perception. LV 200, LV 299 is an 8th level life form, which can move freely in space and can destroy a large city with a casual blow. LV 300, LV 399 is a 9th level life form, which can freely jump in space. It only takes a moment to go from one planet to another. A casual blow can destroy a planet. LV 400, LV 499 is a 10th level life form, which can freely travel between the universe. It is no problem to destroy a star at will. LV 500, LV 599 is a god-level life form, which can move freely in space. A single blow can destroy the solar system. LV 600, LV 699 is the super god level, which can destroy a galaxy with a single blow. LV 700, LV 799 is the creator god level, which can restart or destroy the universe with a single blow. LV 800, LV 899 is the emperor level, which can destroy a multiverse or the universe with a single blow, and can also restore it with a single blow. LV 900, LV 999 is the supreme level, which can make all the heavens come into being with a single thought, and destroy all the heavens with a single thought. The birth and death of all the heavens and worlds are within his single thought, but he still cannot escape from all the heavens and worlds. LV 999 plus is the legendary transcendent level, which transcends all the heavens and worlds, and transcends everything. Shamo thought for a while and asked, how many levels can I upgrade with my 100,000 points? The chat group Enhanced Function Consciousness said, it can be upgraded by 0.1 level. Quote. Shamo almost spat out a mouthful of blood. He now knew that the chat group really had no sincerity at all. The supreme lottery system of the universe just gave him a 10-draw streak and he was directly at level 888. But Shamo thought about it and thought that it might be because he was too lucky. The 100,000 points given by the chat group were enough to strengthen himself to the level of a 10th level life form. If it weren't for his good luck, the things he drew might not be enough to make him a 10th level life form. Shamo temporarily gave up the idea of improving his own strength, exited the chat group's strengthening function, and returned to reality. Shamo did not continue to chat in the group, but took a look at Yi Exanon who was still sleeping, and went out to the vegetable market to buy some vegetables and cook a table of dishes, so that Yi Exanon, who was tired physically and mentally, could taste the taste of home-cooked dishes. Let him feel the warmth of a real home. Shamo had no real family in both lives. Why did Shamo agree to adopt Yi Exanon? Maybe it was because he sympathized with her. He was also sympathizing with himself. Shamo himself had been caught in the rain, and did not want Yi Exanon to be soaked by the storm. Shamo hoped that he could be the umbrella for Yi Exanon, a little girl, in this cold world. It was also a kind of comfort for Shamo's own soul. Shamo was in a very good mood. He knew that he had a real family in this strange Marvel world, and the family members in the chat group were not from the same world as him. Shamo walked and hummed a song, and Lao Shui's alien came to the vegetable market slowly. As soon as he entered the vegetable market near his apartment, Shamo found something wrong. Because he found that there were more than a dozen black and white people dressed as gangsters in the vegetable market, and they were driving away a mother and daughter who were selling vegetables. A white man in the lead said, "Sister Lisa, you haven't paid the protection fee for a month. We think it's not easy for you and your daughter. We have been tolerant of you for a month. Now my boss said that if you don't pay, you don't have to do this business anymore. In fact, there is another way. You can let your daughter serve me for one night, and I will help you pay the protection fee for this month." Then the white woman Lisa said in horror, "Brother, go. Please give me 2 more days, I will raise enough money and give it to you immediately. My daughter is only 16 years old." Shamo looked at the vegetable vendors in the vegetable market, all bowing their heads and doing their work silently, and no one was ready to help the mother and daughter. Shamo, watching this scene, thought, I'm in a good mood today. If I encounter such a thing, I will help. It's just a piece of cake anyway. Although Shamo is not a saint, if she encounters such a thing, she will definitely help if she has the ability. Shamo walked straight to the gangsters, came behind the guy called Dog Brother, patted him on the shoulder and said, I paid their protection fee for 1 year, let's just forget about it. The gangster called Dog Brother turned around and looked at Sha Mo unhappily and said, who do you think you are? I'm doing things here, do you have the right to speak? He pointed a finger at Sha Mo while saying this, and the other gangsters started to make a noise. You yellow-skinned monkey dare to come to save the beauty, don't you see what you are? Sha Mo smiled and said nothing. I don't usually clean up the garbage, but today I'm in a good mood, so I'll clean it up. After saying that, he slapped the Dog Brother in the face. He was beaten unconscious, and then he was slapped one by one. The gangsters had no power to fight back and fainted. The surveillance camera of the vegetable market recorded this scene completely. The vegetable vendors were also astonished, and they all sighed that Sha Mo, an Asian, knew Kung Fu. Sha Mo looked at the mother and daughter who were already squatting under his stall in shock and said, I can use your $100,000 to buy your stall and all the vegetables, right? The two were very surprised and said repeatedly, thank you, benefactor, thank you, benefactor, you don't need $100,000, $1,000 will do. Sha Mo asked the mother and daughter for their bank card numbers, and directly transferred $100,000 to them with his mobile phone. Sha Mo looked at the excited two people and said nothing. He picked some vegetables and meat from their stalls and left the vegetable market. After a while, the gangsters woke up. Brother Go looked at the empty stall and the wound on his face. He was furious. You better not let me meet you again, or I will definitely ask Master Bullseye to kill you. Brother Go said viciously. A group of people were preparing to return to their base. When passing through an empty alley, Go Jie, who was walking in the first row, suddenly exclaimed, my hand, why is it disappearing? He turned into ashes before he finished speaking. The other gangsters also turned into ashes. Only a set of clothes and personal belongings were left on the ground. Yi Shinan's vicious father also turned into ashes at the same time. In the detention room of the police station, there was a set of prison uniforms and a pair of handcuffs. All this must have been done by Sha Mo. Originally, Sha Mo was going to let Yi Shinan's evil father live a few more days. Today, he was in a good mood and solved everything by the way. Sha Mo carried all the big and small things back to the apartment and saw Yi Shinan waiting for him at the door. Yi Shinan saw Sha Mo coming back and came over happily to help Sha Mo carry things. Sha Mo smiled and said, Exanon, is it okay for me to call you that? Are you used to this place? Do you feel it's a bit shabby? Yi Shinan shook his head and said sincerely, it's definitely okay for you to call me Exanon. Can I call you Dad? Sha Mo felt something touched in his heart and said happily, yes, of course. Yi Shinan said happily, Dad. I'll help you. I can cook too. Sha Mo was a little surprised and said, you can cook too. You don't have to do it today. You can just watch TV in the living room. My cooking skills are pretty good. After Sha Mo finished speaking, he started to get busy in the kitchen and cooked a large table of dishes in less than 2 hours. The father and daughter were very comfortable while watching variety shows and eating. Sha Mo suddenly said, Yi Shinan, you need to get in touch with people of your age. I will help you find a school nearby. Is it okay for day students? Yi Shinan nodded obediently and said with a little complaint, before, my family said that I had depression and asked me to drop out of school. In fact, they just didn't want to pay the tuition for high school. It's really not expensive. It's only $300 a semester, and it also includes lunch and dinner. Sha Mo patted Yi Shinan's head and said, I will get angry with anyone who says you have depression. You are a good girl, how can you have depression? Even if you have it. It's all right now. When you go to school, you have to get along well with your classmates, okay? Yi Shinan agreed. Of course, Dad, I will definitely not cause trouble for you. Sha Mo continued to instruct, but if someone bullies you, tell me, I am a soldier, no one can bully my daughter. Yi Shinan choked with tears and said, thank you, Dad. Sha Mo touched Yi Shinan's head, smiled and said, let me tell you a story. There was a little boy who was born without parents. He stayed in an orphanage until he was 16 and then went out to support himself. Later, he joined the army. During a protection mission, he was captured by terrorists with a rich man and was taken in that cave for 3 months. The boy learned a truth from a captive named Ethan. To live, you need a person or thing to support yourself. If you don't have it, go looking for it until you find it. The boy lived alone for more than 20 years, like a walking corpse, but one day he saved a girl who tried to commit suicide and adopted the girl. At that moment, the boy's lonely and gloomy life ushered in the dawn. Exanon, do you know? You are the girl who brought me the dawn. You are my most cherished daughter, and I will always be with you. This is the first time that Shamo has said so many words to someone other than the chat group. The next day, Shamo popped up in the chat group and went out to help Exanon find a school. After spending $50,000, Yi Shinan was enrolled in a private middle school 1 kilometer away from his apartment. In the following year, Shamo also spent $200,000 on an SUV for transportation. While Yi Shinan went to school, Shamo stayed at home, chatting on the social network, cooking and doing housework. His life was very comfortable. After Yi Shinan went to school, Shamo went shopping and cooking as usual. After finishing all this, he opened the chat group and started chatting with the family members in the chat group. Because Shamo used the law of time in this year, only about a week had passed in the chat group. Shamo said, "Good afternoon, everyone." And Linger said, "It's still morning here." Uchiha Madara said helplessly, "I have no concept of time in the cave." Kirishima Tuka said, "I just finished dinner. Good evening, everyone." Hai Bodong said, "It's noon here too." And Linger said, "At Shamo, the Ministry of Education here may start school early, and Magic Awakening will begin in a few days. Do you have time to come over?" Shamo replied, "I have time, and I will bring Yi Exanon to the other world to play, okay." And Linger smiled and said, "You are very welcome. I will help book a hotel first, so that you will have a place to stay when the time comes." Hai Bodong said, "Boss Shamo can spend points to travel to other worlds, and he can also bring his daughter with him. Unlike me, I am completely reluctant to use points to travel through the world." Wait, isn't it said that the function of traveling through the world is still being upgraded? Why can Boss Shamo travel through the world? Shamo also remembered and said, "Yes. I remembered that the chat group's world traveling function has not been upgraded yet, and I don't have the coordinates of your magic world. How can I go there?" And Linger said a little embarrassedly, "Sorry, I forgot to say it just now. The chat group has notified me as the group owner that the chat group's world traveling function will be upgraded tomorrow, and world traveling no longer requires points, only the consent of the group members of the world being traveled to." Shamo said, "Is that so? This upgrade is not bad. I have a good suggestion. I will send the fate copy of my world to the chat group later. Everyone can take a look at the time node in Avengers 1. If there are enough members in our chat group by the time of Avengers 1, how about holding a party in Marvel World? I will entertain everyone. We can eat and drink well and fight aliens. How about it, everyone?" After Shamo finished speaking, he sent a group file. Ding! Shamo uploaded the Marvel series. All group members can watch it. And Linger didn't open the group file that Shamo uploaded to the chat group, because she knew the general direction of the Marvel world. With the help of the chat group system, everyone in the chat group also began to watch the Marvel series at high speed. Uchiha Madara was the first to finish watching, and he came out and cursed, "I respect Thanos as a hero, but what kind of idea is that? I don't agree with the idea of wiping out half of the population in the universe. If it were me, I would wipe them all out." Shamo and Linger. Hai Bodong said to the one who came out unhappy, "What's the matter with that Thor and that Star-Lord? If Thor chopped off Thanos' head with an axe in Avengers 3, wouldn't there be so many things, and Tony Stark wouldn't die in Avengers 4? The worst one is that Star-Lord, he is so stupid, just a pig teammate. If he hadn't made trouble in the end, Thanos would have been subdued long ago, how could there be those tragedies later? What do you think, Summer?" Batman Wayne withdrew from the Marvel series and said, "I am very similar to the early Tony Stark, but I am only similar to the early Tony Stark. I am not as good as the Iron Man Tony Stark who snapped his fingers for all the life in the universe in Avengers 4. I surrender to this person." Kirishima Tuka, "You didn't pay attention. The Black Widow who sacrificed herself and the Vision who was killed. And Wanda who was in great pain, she had lost her brother, and here the only belief in this world, Vision, also died. They are all so pitiful and sad." Quote. Shamo said calmly, These are the specific directions of the original destiny of my world. Because of the arrival of an outsider like me, the future has changed, but the major events will not change. I will definitely not let these tragedies happen. With my strength, I will guide the overall situation to the best side. If you come to my world for a party, you can rest assured that you will have a good time. Quote. As the group leader, Enlinger was the first to say, anyway, I am looking forward to going to the Marvel world to attend the party during the time period of Avengers 1. Kirishima Tuka also said, it would be very interesting if I could see Loki being beaten by the Hulk with my own eyes. Uchiha Madara said, I don't know if I will unify the ninja world by then, and I don't know if I will have time. Hai Bodong directly said, forget it. Uchiha Madara, you sitting in that cave every day, what can you do? I, a strong man who practices every day to break through the duty level, never said that I don't have time. I will go to the party anyway, leaving you alone in the cave to die alone. Quote. Uchiha Madara rolled his eyes in anger and said, Hai Bodong, you still want to break through the duty level, forget it. I am in the cave now to beware of Black Zetsu, and by the way, I use the points in the chat group to exchange for enhanced energy to repair my body and restore my strength. Do you know what is called forbearance? I will definitely go back to that party. By then, I will definitely break through the 6 paths level and unify the ninja world. Batman Wayne said, I still want to meet Tony Stark, the Iron Man who is comparable to gods with his mortal body. At Shamo, do you know Tony Stark? Shamo smiled and said, I know him. And I'm his savior. You've all watched the Marvel series, right? I'm still watching the plot of Iron Man 1. I remember telling you that Tony and I were locked in a cave. At that time, I had just arrived in this world, and later I saved Tony Stark casually. Enlinger asked curiously, Shamo, you saved Tony Stark, so will there still be Iron Man in this world? Shamo replied, I accompanied Tony in the cave to assemble the Mk1 iron armor for more than a month. During this month, Tony Stark's state of mind has also changed a lot, and the real Iron Man has been born. Uchiha Madara said a little helplessly, Shamo, have you forgotten one thing? Iron Man 1 is at least several years away from Avengers 1. Isn't it a bit early for you to talk about a group gathering now? Shamo said a little embarrassedly, so I just put forward this idea first. I didn't say to hold a group gathering now, and a year has passed here. The strange thing is that Iron Man Tony Stark hasn't fought with his uncle yet. Batman Wayne said, I got excited for nothing. Wait, why is the time in Shamo's world so fast? Shamo smiled and said, it's very simple, because I used the law of time to separate the world flow rate of the Marvel Cinematic Universe from the heavens and the worlds. It's been a year here, and it's only been a week for you. Kirishima Dongxiang said, Shamo is awesome, doesn't that mean that Avengers 1 will be released in a few weeks? Hai Bodong started to lick again. I am willing to wait for more than 10 years for the group gathering proposed by Shamo, let alone a week. Uchiha Madara said, please ignore this ice-attributed licking dog, thank you. Hai Bodong said angrily, Uchiha Madara, you are scolding. Uchiha Madara said calmly, what's wrong with scolding you as a licking dog? Shamo was too lazy to pay attention to the two people who were quarreling with each other on a daily basis and said, I will put this proposal into the chat group file. If you have any good suggestions, you can also put them in the group file. Enlinger suddenly felt that the presence of the group owner who had no strength and no cohesion was so low. Just when Enlinger was doubting her life, a mechanical prompt sound of the chat group sounded in everyone's mind. Ding! Zhang Chulin from the world of the aliens joined the chat group. Quote. Hai Bodong said excitedly, is the newcomer a big boss? If not, please accept my investment. Uchiha Madara said speechlessly, newcomer, don't pay attention to this funny guy. He invests in newcomers with his little strength, haha. Kirishima Dongxiang said, welcome newcomer, welcome to join the chat group family. Group leader Enlinger said, welcome newcomer, you are the unshakable Zhang Chunin. Batman Wayne said with a smile, the group leader's name for the newcomer is quite strange. Shamo thought for a while and said, welcome newcomer, let the newcomer take a break first, he probably hasn't reacted yet. Under the alien world Zhang Chulin was lying on the bed in his university dormitory. As soon as he closed his eyes, a light screen appeared in his mind. Dense messages appeared on it. First, congratulations on joining the chat group of all heavens and worlds, followed by messages one after another. Zhang Chulin looked at the messages in the chat group and quickly took a look in the dormitory to find out if there were any classmates. After Zhang Chulin found that there were no classmates, he began to chant, Heaven and Earth Mysterious Sect, the root of all Qi. I have practiced for billions of kalpas to prove my supernatural powers. Within and outside the three realms, only Tao is supreme. There is golden light on my body, covering my body. The moment he finished the last word, the whole body was full of golden light. Zhang Chulin looked at the golden light all over his body, let out a long breath, closed his eyes again, and found that the light curtain was still there. Zhang Chulin was almost ready to use Yang Wulei to strike himself. Zhang Chulin, who forced himself to calm down, tried to send a message on the light curtain in his mind. Zhang Chulin said, Who are you? Why do you appear in my mind? Group leader and Ling said very conscientiously, Welcome to join the chat group of all heavens and worlds. I am the group leader and Ling of this group. Now you may not understand what happened. You can click on the group announcement in the upper right corner. You can take a good look. The group file also contains the original fate of our world. Wait a minute, I will sort it out and send you the original fate of your world. You may be confused, why do I know this? First of all, I am not a super boss, because I am a time traveler. My original world has a lot of information about your world. I will send you all the information I know. Zhang Chulin did not reply directly, but clicked on the group announcement of the chat group. After roughly understanding the situation of the chat group, he returned to the chat interface and looked at the information sent by the group leader and Ling what world fate direction, and information between worlds. Zhang Chulin asked in disbelief, So, group leader and Ling you know my future, and you can predict the future. And Ling quickly explained, I can't predict the future, but my original world has received a lot of information from other worlds, including information from your world, but the information from your world is very incomplete, so even if I send it to you, you can't see anything. Your future will be part of the fate copy I will send later, but the truth you want is not mentioned, you still need to explore it yourself. After and Ling finished speaking, she began to organize her memories of Under the Alien to condense into a fate copy. Ding! Group leader and Ling uploaded Zhang Chulin's fate copy. Please check it out by yourself. Everyone in the chat group also curiously clicked on Zhang Chulin's fate copy. Zhang Chulin also tremblingly clicked on the golden light ball with his name on it. And Ling only watched the 5th season of Under the Alien in her previous life, so she uploaded the content of seasons 1 to 5 of Under the Alien. After watching Under the Alien, the chat group felt that they were still not satisfied. Shamo did not go to the fate copy. In his previous life, he read the comic book, Under the Alien. Hai Bodong said with a sly smile, I finally know why the group leader called Zhang Chulin, Bu Yao Bai Lian Zhang Chunan. Bu Yao Bai Lian is indeed a virgin. Zhang Chulin, who had just exited his fate copy, was almost angry to death. Zhang Chulin said helplessly, Senior Hai Bodong, I haven't been Bu Yao Bai Lian yet, okay. And what's wrong with being a virgin? Isn't it normal for me to be a virgin in my 20s? Shamo spoke for Zhang Chulin and said, Indeed, I was also a virgin when I was 20 years old in my previous life. Later, I had a few girlfriends and they all broke up. When I was about to talk to one, I was washed away by the flood because I saved a little girl, and then I traveled through time. Zhang Chulin knew that this big guy was speaking for him, but why did he feel a sense of disobedience? There was also the idea of being washed through by the flood. Before joining this chat group, he didn't believe it. When he was a child, he believed that his family was a peerless master hiding in the countryside. Zhang Chulin asked cautiously, Group leader, do you know what will happen next? And Ling said helplessly, Zhang Chulin, let me tell you this. I just happen to know a lot of information about the world, and I can't really collect that information by myself. I really don't know what will happen next. My current strength is very low, and I don't even think I can beat you. Zhang Chulin was a little surprised and thought, the group leader who can connect to the chat group of all the heavens and the worlds must be an unparalleled strong man, who may be able to destroy the world with one blow. No. He may be even stronger. You said you can't even beat me. If you don't want to tell me, then don't tell me. It's over, why are you still looking for excuses? Quote. Shamo shook his head and said, Zhang Chulin, I know what you are thinking now. But what the group owner and Linger said is true. This chat group has just been established. In 2 days, I will go to help her awaken the magic system. Now the group owner and Linger can be said to be an ordinary girl. Quote. Zhang Chulin looked at Shamo's words in amazement and thought, I didn't send anything just now. Did this group member named Shamo see through me through the world at a glance? Could it be that the mysterious boss in this group is not the group owner but him? He should know the plot behind my world. Quote. Shamo always feels that Zhang Chulin is a brain-filled monster. Shamo located Zhang Chulin's world position and discussed what Zhang Chulin was thinking now through the world barrier. Sure enough, this guy is really a brain-filled monster. Shamo said speechlessly. Zhang Chulin, don't think so much. Now I am the strongest in the chat group. I also have a way to know your future, but to be honest, knowing your future is not a good thing. Even if you know your future, the future will change in the end. The future I predicted was originally stable. If I tell you, it will change again. Do you understand? And to be honest, exploring the unknown and revealing secrets in your world are the real themes. A common rule in every world is that the strong are respected. As long as your strength goes up, there is nothing you can't explore and what secrets you can't reveal. Now that you have a chat group, your strength will increase rapidly. It is recommended that you take a look at the chat group's enhancement function, which also has a corresponding level division of the heavens and the worlds. You can first let the chat group's enhancement function scan your current level. You can get points by signing in every day. Points can be opened to accumulate points. I remember that now it seems to strengthen you according to how much the points you give. Zhang Zhelin thought about it. Thank you for your guidance, the boy is in mind. A very transparent person. You cannot be ordinary like you, and work hard to become the strongest of your world. Zhang Zhelin said without any hesitation. Thank you for your affirmation, the boy Zhang Zhelin will work hard. Dao. And Linger, will you die if you don't dismantle my stage? At this time, the prompt sound of the chat group sounded again. And Linger looked at the message just sent by the chat group, and then looked at her LV0 level and said, at Zhang Chulin, now you know why I said I am not a big shot, and I can't even beat you. I am LV0, and the chat group judged me as an ordinary person. Zhang Chulin, who was it, looked at the small LV0 behind the avatar of the group owner and Linger, and his mouth twitched wildly. Zhang Chulin felt that there was something wrong with his brain, so he imagined an ordinary girl with the title of group owner to be so strong. Zhang Chulin, who was a little curious about his level, looked at the level next to his avatar. It was written as LV7, and Zhang Chulin went to the strengthening function to look at the strength division of the life forms in the heavens and the worlds. Zhang Chulin was surprised that he could already cultivate qi, but why was he still only LV7? Zhang Chulin simply stopped thinking about it and asked the chat group directly. Ding. There is no complete definition of strength in the universe, but according to the chat group's test, you are at level 7. The first reason is that your world level is too low, and the second reason is that your cultivation level is not high. With your current strength, you can only beat dozens of ordinary people. The third reason is that the force of your punch does not reach 3 tons. Zhang Chulin gradually understood after listening to the explanation of the chat group. He looked at the strength labels of other group members and murmured, Batman Wayne LV5, Kirishima Tuka LV9, Uchiha Madara LV78. This senior is very strong. Haibo Dong LV90, is he so strong? Look at the senior who just gave me some advice, this is not a senior. I would believe you if you said he is the creator god of our world. Shamo LV888. Just when Zhang Chulin was amazed at Shamo's strength level, Uchiha Madara and Haibo Dong had already quarreled in the chat group. Uchiha Madara said very dissatisfiedly, impossible, absolutely impossible. How can a guy who was beaten by a female snake man and felt refreshed be 12 levels higher than me? How can I only be level 78? I have recovered most of my strength. Chat group, did you make a wrong assessment? Haibo Dong said disdainfully. I told you, old man, when you get old, don't be competitive. Can't you just take good care of yourself? Do you feel proud of me who is 12 levels higher than you? Leave things like strength to us young people. Kirishima Dongxiang said helplessly. Hi Bodong, you are over 30 years old and still young. Batman Wayne said embarrassedly. I am also over 30 years old, but I think I am quite young. Group leader and Linger said. A cute girl who just turned 16 passed by quietly. Shamo smiled and said. A 26-year-old young father passed by calmly. Zhang Chulin said a little embarrassedly. Senior Shamo, you are already LV 888, which is higher than the god of creation. If you tell us that you are only 26 years old, no one will believe it. Look, when it came to the words of the newcomer Zhang Chulin, Haibadong and Uchiha Madara, who were still arguing, were also attracted and looked at Shamo's strength label. The two exclaimed at the same time. Uchiha Madara said in amazement, isn't this strength a bit too outrageous? I knew that Shamo was strong, but I didn't know he was so strong. Haibadong said proudly. I said Shamo was strong. I helped you lick it earlier, but now you regret it. Haibadong said it like a successful person. It's as if that LV 888 is him. Uchiha Madara said helplessly. Shamo, please ignore this guy. Group leader and Linger said with a brave face. Shamo, you said you are 26 years old, it's a bit too much. No one will believe it. Kirishima Tuka also nodded and said. That's right. That's right. Shamo found that the relationship between the two men and the two women was not on the same channel at all. The two men were concerned about real strength, and the two women were concerned about their age. Only Zhang Chulin, the orphan, was concerned about both strength and age. Other people's crotch mud is shit, but Shamo is strong, and now he is either older or older. Shamo sighed. I am really only 26 years old. There is no way to stop the luck of the European emperor. If you want to upgrade, it's like playing. Shamo looked at the time and found that it was almost time for Yi Shinin to finish school, so he said, everyone, I will go down first, I have to pick up my daughter from school. Uchiha Madara and Haibo Dong said in unison, see you off, big guy. And Linger was no longer joking, she smiled and said, bye, Shamo, see you tomorrow, don't forget to help me awaken magic, I'm counting on you. Quote. Shamo replied, I know, just tell me one day in advance, I will go to your world. Zhang Chulin also said, boss, you won't be in seclusion for hundreds of years when you go offline. I can't live that long. Batman Wayne and Kirishima Tuka sent a sentence in the Chinese tone, respectfully send the ancestor offline. Shamo, who was about to close the chat group, staggered. Although he knew that the two guys didn't mean it, he always felt that the implication was not good. It felt like cursing himself to death. Shamo ignored this group of stupid group members and went offline directly. Shamo walked out humming a song and walked slowly to the school gate of Yi Shinin. Just as Shamo came to the school and opened the door, Yi Shinin also walked out of the school gate with several of her classmates. A girl walking on the left of Yi Shinin poked Yi Shinin and said, although I have only seen him a few times, every time I look at your dad, I can only sigh that he is too handsome, and he also gives people a sense of mystery. Yi Shinin said proudly, my dad is definitely the most handsome, much more handsome than those school idols, and he does have a sense of mystery. Shamo waved when he saw Yi Shinin from a distance. Yi Shinin looked at his classmates and said, I'm going to find my dad, bye. See you tomorrow. Yi Shinin trotted to Shamo's side, and Shamo took Yi Shinin's school bag over. Compared with the school bags of the beautiful Chinese students in China, it was much lighter. Shamo smiled and said, you get along well with your classmates. Today's dishes include sugar-fried spare ribs, steamed Crucian carp, and Chinese cabbage dumplings. Yi Exanon looked at Shamo with a smile and said, I love whatever my dad cooks. The two of them walked home with laughter. Just as they passed a street, Shamo found something wrong. It was too quiet. Shamo pulled Yi Exanon to his side and said, something you don't understand may happen later. You don't have to be surprised. Just believe in dad. As soon as Shamo finished speaking, dozens of black people dressed as gangsters walked out of the empty houses on both sides of the street. The leader was a tall and strong black man. The black guy in the lead said, our boss Bullseye asked us to ask you about some situations. I hope you can tell the truth. You may not have heard of Bullseye, but you must have heard of Kingpin. Kingpin is the leader of the dark forces, and our boss is Kingpin's right-hand man. Our boss wants to ask where the group of brothers you were in the vegetable market last time went. Our boss has been looking for them for a year and couldn't find them. Later, he found out that you had a conflict with them. Tell the truth. Shamo didn't talk nonsense with these guys. A purple-black destructive energy shot out from between his fingers and pierced the hearts of all the gang members. The energy did not dissipate, but began to spread in their bodies, destroying them into molecules. Yi Exanon covered his mouth in fear. He forced himself not to scream. A minute later, all the gang members concentrated by the energy beam composed of this destructive force disappeared from this world without leaving any traces, and even their clothes disappeared with them. Shamo glanced at Yi Shinin and found that Yi Shinin did not retreat in fear. Shamo said, Shinin, I need to tell you something. Let's go home and talk. Yi Shinin nodded and followed Shamo closely back to the apartment. Shamo was just about to say something. Yi Shinin said first, Dad. No matter who you are or what you have done, I will stand by you. Shamo smiled and said, Silly child, there is no need to show your force field. I am not a bad person. I just have some strange abilities. Those I killed just now were all gangsters. It was when I was buying vegetables a year ago that I saved a mother and daughter. Their boss wanted to make trouble for me. It was just a small matter. But what I want to say is not this. This world is not as peaceful as you look. In the near future, there may be alien invasions, various superpower events, and cosmic overlords who want to destroy half of the life in the universe will come to our planet. Dad doesn't want you to be strong enough to defeat them. I hope you can have the power to protect yourself. I will give you a book. You can take a look at it these days. It is a method of cultivating magical powers. If you don't understand any part, tell me. We may have to travel to other worlds for a few days in a few days. Be mentally prepared. After Shamo finished speaking, he handed the modified Do-Chi cultivation and secret book on the table in the study to Yi Shinin. Yi Shinin looked at Shamo seriously and said, Dad, thank you for bringing me into your world. I will work hard. After saying that, Yi Shinin left the study and returned to his room to study the technique. Shamo helped Yi Shinin take a week off so that she could practice Do-Chi seriously. Within a day, under Shamo's guidance, Yi Shinin successfully cultivated her own Do-Chi, which was a thunder attribute Do-Chi. Yi Shinin looked at the electric arcs surrounding his palms and said happily, Dad, is this the power of Do-Chi? It looks so powerful. Which realm of Do-Chi am I in? Shamo explained. This is a kind of Do-Chi, thunder attribute Do-Chi. It is a very powerful type of Do-Chi. Now you have just started, continue to use Do-Chi to nourish your muscles and bones. Yi Shinin nodded and said seriously, I know, Dad, I will continue to practice and strive to become a doge as soon as possible. Shamo smiled and said, Shinin, don't be anxious, you still have a long way to go in the Do-Chi, don't worry. Tomorrow we will go to other worlds to play, there is a friend of mine there. Yi Shinin asked in amazement, You can really go to other worlds, what realm of Do-Chi are you now? Shamo shook his head helplessly and said, Your dad is much more powerful than Do-Di, you can just be happy. Yi Shinin did not refute but just nodded, indicating that he knew, and continued to practice. This morning, Shamo had received a message from Enling hoping that he could go to her world, and had already opened the group restrictions of the chat group. Shamo entered the chat group and said, At Group Master Enling Exanon and I will be teleported here later. She is still practicing Do-Chi, so she may have to wait a while. Group Master Enling also said excitedly, Okay, I know, just don't forget it, I have prepared a hotel for you. Hai Bodong said in astonishment, The daughter of Mr. Shamo is practicing Do-Chi, which is really the glory of our Do-Chi world. Uchiha Madara directly said, Haha. Flatterer. Kirishima Dongxiang asked curiously, Shamo, you are so powerful, why don't you directly improve Yi Exanon's strength? Batman Wayne said, Ditto. Shamo explained, In fact, the reason is very simple. Suddenly receiving too strong a force, most people can't bear it. Hai Bodong volunteered to say, Master Shamo, I am not an ordinary person. Can I receive a little bit of your power? Shamo said speechlessly, Get out. I see you are from class 2. Zhang Chulin said, Everyone, I seem to have been targeted by Quan Xing. I will definitely not let them touch my grandfather's body. I am going to beat up the villains of Quan Xing and bully Shahi who took the blood of that junior uncle. He. Kirishima Dongxiang asked realistically, can you beat those guys in Quan Xing? Zhang Chulin said awkwardly, I can't beat them now, but it doesn't mean I can't beat them after I strengthen them. Batman Wayne asked curiously, Zhang Chulin, you have only been in the group for a few days. How many points do you have to strengthen yourself? Zhang Chulin said proudly, 4 days in the group, 250 points. Enough for me to strengthen myself to fight Shahi head-on, and I have the Gongsha, so I am not afraid of her at all. Quote. Kirishima Dongxiang said helplessly, 250, I don't know what you are proud of, and that Gongsha, is it the thing you showed when you walked the bird under the moon? Zhang Chulin, you really don't shake the green lotus, my points have been 1000 points and I have not used them. Seeing that you are going to strengthen me, I also used them. Batman Wayne also said, it turned out to be 250, I have 1300 points. Hai Bodong said awkwardly, I don't have any points at all of them are used to improve my strength. Uchiha Madara also said, I used them all to repair my body and restore my strength. Group leader and Linger said embarrassedly, I am almost at 2000 points. Shamo said calmly, I already have 100,000 points. What am I proud of? Group leader and Linger's eyes turned red, and she asked in astonishment, Shamo, how can you have so many points? Now many functions can be opened, how can you? Shamo said calmly, the chat group gave me these points to celebrate my joining the chat group. Who knew that these points were so useless and could only improve my strength by 0.1 level? It's dispensable. Hai Bodong said quickly, Shamo, if you think the points are dispensable, I will help you consume them. Shamo asked directly, am I your real father? Hai Bodong replied, no, what's wrong? Shamo said with a smile, then why should I consume points for you? Isn't it good for me to redeem group products for my daughter? Hai Bodong, if you want group points, you can collect some Thunder Attribute Fighting Spirit. I will buy any technique I like. Quote. Hai Bodong was very upset, but he immediately changed his face and said, okay. Big brother Shamo. I will definitely do my best to collect Thunder Attribute techniques. And Linger is now in the corner of her room, drawing circles and cursing the conscienceless guy in the chat group, who is a fence sitter and follows the wind. When the guy in the chat group saw the big brother, he flattered him just like Hai Bodong. With so many points, why didn't he give them to himself as the group leader? What Linger didn't know was that Shamo was not a big brother at the time, and he just used his mouth to deceive the 100,000 points. If she knew, she would probably be even more angry. Kirishima Dongxiang looked at Shamo who was teasing Hai Bodong and smiled and said, I plan to use the points to strengthen myself. It won't be long before the plot begins. I hope to protect the people I care about. Batman Wayne also said, I will strengthen myself too. I don't know when those Kryptonians and General Zod will come to Earth. I have to be prepared. Ding. Zhang Chulin uses 250 points to improve himself in all aspects. The actual power level is LV10. Quote. Ding. Kirishima Tuka uses 1000 points to improve himself in all aspects. The actual power level is LV16. Ding. Batman Wayne uses 1300 points to improve himself in all aspects. The actual power level is LV17. And Linger looked at everyone in the chat group and wanted to improve herself. But she suppressed this idea. Because she knew that this was an all-round improvement. If she awakened magic and used the chat group to improve her strength, her magic system would also improve. Kirishima Tuka felt the power of her body and felt that her life level had improved to a certain extent. He found that he could eat human food now. Kirishima Tuka said excitedly, the group point enhancement function is amazing. I can actually eat human food, and I no longer need to eat human flesh and drink human blood. And I found that my strength SS level ghouls are not my opponents, and I am not sure about SSS points. Quote. Zhang Chulin asked in astonishment, at Kirishima Dongxiang, aren't you a human? You actually eat human flesh and drink human blood. Kirishima Dongxiang found that she was a little too excited, and didn't remember that there was a newcomer in the chat group who didn't know about her. She explained awkwardly, At Zhongchulin, there is a kind of humanoid creature in our world, which is ghouls. They need to eat human flesh and drink human blood when they are born, and they can only eat humans and drink human blood. Although I say ghouls, I don't kill innocent people indiscriminately. I usually eat dead human flesh and buy some human blood to drink. After the chat group was strengthened, my life level was improved and I can eat normally. Quote. Zhang Chulin heard cold sweats and said embarrassedly, "Oh. So that's the case. The humans in your world are so miserable." Kirishima Dongxiang said, "You are wrong, we ghouls are the ones who were slaughtered." Zhang Chulin was stunned and said, "Okay. Your world is so miserable." Quote. Batman Wayne felt the power in his body and felt that he could punch through the wall with one punch, but that was all. It was not enough to deal with the Kryptonians. Zhang Chulin just went to marvel at Kirishima Toka's speech and did not feel the change in his strength. After feeling it, Zhang Chulin was ecstatic. The points he got from signing in for 4 days made him so much stronger. The chi in Zhang Chulin's body became more and more condensed, and the amount was greatly improved. The golden light curse and thunder method were significantly improved. His physical strength was also greatly improved. Zhang Chulin secretly swore in his heart, "Grandpa, I will find out your affairs and give you justice. I will let those who want to harm my family go to hell." Quote. Thanks for watching.